Welcome back to Ultra Morons. I'm your host as usual, Lane, joined with
Connor, back again.
In this episode, we're doing something a little different. We're taking, I don't say taking a break from Horus Heresy because we're still in the Horus Heresy. We're going to do a more character-focused episode. And before I tell you who that character is, and you in the audience, I'm going to tell you a little story. So, 100 years ago, there is a hut beside a river on Colchis, or Colchis, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a planet, built out of packed mud and straw. A carpenter lives in it with his wife and 5 children. And the youngest of those five is a boy who was born sickly in a year of drought. One day, a warrior in gray armor comes to the door. He has come to take the boy away. His sisters weep, and the father says nothing. And the mother, before she gives up her son, asks for the warrior's name. And the guy says, Erebus, he intoned. My name is Erebus. And the woman says, thank you, Lord Erebus. This is my son. She gestures to her boy, Argel Tal. So yes, today we're talking about Argel Tal, not Erebus. Sorry, I don't have to make sure we get more clear. We're talking about Argel Tal today, not Erebus. I mean,
somebody's fast forward and they're like, "Nice Erebus episode." No,
no, I love it. I love Erebus, but I hate. No, we don't know Erebus. Maybe one day we'll do an episode on Erebus. It's just if you keep with the show, you know why we can't talk about Erebus yet, just because she's still doing stuff. So
yeah,
we kind of spoilerish, but also just out of sequence. And if you keep with the show, you know why we can do Argel Tal, because he's not really around anymore. We'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Erebus comes 200 years before the Horus Heresy to take Argel Tal and say, I'm going to make you into a Space Marine. So Erebus is a first chaplain of the Word Bearers, which is a chaplain is basically a rule keeper in a way for a legion. A lot of times it's just making sure that you're doing what's best for the legion, but also you're doing the Emperor's laws. You're just a big propaganda guy.
Okay.
It's religious, but also not religious. I mean, the Word Bearer's case is very religious,
right?
Obviously, but for any other, like some other chapters also have for them, it's more about like you're the librarian, but not like a psycho librarian, but like you're the lawyer in a way.
Yeah,
keep all the stuff up, the news in your head, not news, but the rules in your head.
Yeah, like a record keeper,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's funny that Erebus is the chaplain.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
but he breaks a lot of rules.
Yeah.
But he knows what rules to break.
Yeah.
So when Erebus wants to train Argel Tal as a chaplain like himself, he says, you're going to become a great chaplain just like me. And Argel Tal says, I don't think so. I want to do the sword fighting because it's cool and epic. And actually, they have a big fight about it. Big enough that they kind of, you don't really know how bad, but it's bad enough where they kind of go separate ways for a time.
Okay.
So 200 years later.
So sorry, does that mean the chaplains don't really see combat?
No, they do. I mean, Erebus fights all the time.
Yeah.
But they're not known for fighting. They're known for like spreading the word.
Yeah.
And making sure things are chronicled. But they're Space Marines at the end of the day, so they can fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not your frontline guys. You're not going to send Erebus first, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
He's your information guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, 200 years later, after this incident, we are in Monarchia. And we know about Monarchia, the perfect city. And city that this planet is on is called Khârn, Khur, Khur. I don't know. Look, until James Workshop puts out pronunciation guides, I'm going to say it however it's spelled. It's called, Monarchia is called the perfect city and is 61 years compliant. So they've been in compliance for a very long time. Most humans' lifespans.
Right.
And there's a population there that prays 3 times a day through speakers in the streets in the cities. So this is a very religious world. And one night, the sky above it fills with falling stars, and the whole city goes down on its knees to like welcome these angels back. The angels have come back, because they worship word bearers, right? Because that was the whole word bearer thing, was worship the emperor, the religion, all that stuff, the imperial truth.
Right.
And so they see these quote unquote falling stars. They're just like drop pods and spaceships and stuff. And it's been 60 years since the word bearers have been here. So they go, wow, they're back. Wow, incredible. The angels have returned. And one woman stays standing when everybody else is kneeling. And she is Cyrene Valantian. And here is, I don't have any pictures of her. There aren't many pictures of her, but there's kind of a picture of her there talking to a word bearer, Argel Tal specifically. You can see how giant he is compared to her. But she right now is 3 weeks short of her 18th birthday. I don't know why that's important, but it's in the book.
Okay.
Just so you know that she is 17 years old. It's a very weird thing. It's kind of like a Stephen King thing. Yeah. This girl's not an adult, so don't think anything about her. It's like, I wasn't.
We weren't going there, but all right.
I mean, you can also just make her like 30. I don't know. But she is not kneeling. Now, she is I can't remember what they're called, but she is kind of a religious figure. Like a priest in a way, but they have a different name for it. But she's kind of has a position in the religion of like a higher position.
Okay.
So she's so important actually that people aren't supposed to touch her even. She's kind of higher up in the thing, but she doesn't kneel. She looks up and she's like, something doesn't feel right here. And she looks around and sees these ships. She says, these are not the gray of the God Emperor's true angels. Because remember, word bearers back then were gray. The people that show up here are not gray. They come down the ramp. They're cobalt blue trimmed with bronze. She says, that's not right. I'm telling you. And then people getting mad at her. They're like, kneel, you ingrate. And this old woman like spits at her, like pulling her. She's like, don't touch me. You're not allowed to touch me. And she's like, you're gonna go to hell. You're gonna die. And she's like, I'm telling you, these are somebody else. So listen, they're Ultramarines. Which is funny because Ultramarines are cobalt blue, not Ultramarine blue. What an interesting Ultramarines. Do I paint them Ultramarine blue? No, you paint them cobalt blue, idiot. Oh, of course, sorry.
Oh, my bad. Obviously.
The forehead, come on. So, and then who shows up with them is the Primarch. Guilliman is there. And obviously we know what happens here, but I'm going to get into more detail about it because we didn't really cover a lot of the detail there. So it's been 61 years of compliance, and they decree, the Ultramarines say though, but you are going to need to abandon your city within 6 days. If you leave Monarchia, every single one of you within 6 days, and resistance will be met with bloodshed. Basically, if you do not leave, you will die. And somebody asked the question, where will we go? This is our home. And then Cyrene realizes she asked the question out loud to Space Marines and Guilliman, this regular human that is 17, 3 weeks from 18, mind you. And she realizes what she says and starts sweating a little bit. And Ultramarine points his bolter at her and says, hey, shut your mouth. And everybody kind of scatters and go, well, I got to get out of here then. And she's just left alone as everybody kind of leaves. And she's just standing there and she says, what have we done wrong? And the guy says, if you keep up this like charade or whatever you're doing, I'm going to kill you. If you keep defiling the Emperor's name, because she's saying like, we have been so loyal to the Emperor, we do exactly what the Emperor wants. So what's the problem here? And he's like, you keep the Emperor's name out of your mouth. So essentially she leaves. She's like, fine. She says, I will go only because I seek illumination. I will find the truth in all this, and I pray there will become a reckoning. And the Ultramarine says, as sunrise on the 7th day, turn and look back at your city. You will witness the illumination you crave. He said, huh? What does that mean?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Explain. So,
sorry, they're just talking about the city. They're not talking about the planet.
No,
right?
it's Monarchia, the perfect city, which is this. I mean, it's the Vatican City, right? It's so big, it's almost a country of a city. And so she leaves. She says, okay, fine. And on the 7th morning, she comes back and she is standing on a rise in the Galehi foothills looking east to where the sun comes up over Monarchia. And all of a sudden, the sun comes up and turns every one of the towers into this gold shimmering light. And it's so beautiful to her. She's like crying about it because it's like so intense. But then it gets a little too bright, a little too fast. And it says the last clear sight she ever saw was Monarchia in ruin, the towers falling into flames. So it actually wasn't the sun. It was a bunch of lasers coming down from space to disintegrate it. And it blinds her because it's just like a nuclear bomb, right? It's just atomic brightness. And that's her illumination she got. So he said, go back into, in about a week. You'll see. So she's blinded by this. And eventually, some time later, 116 ships, 100,000 warriors show up. And these are the word bearers. They've come back home because they Monarchia sent out a thing and said, hey, we feel like killed by your brothers. What was that about? And word bearers are like, huh, what? They weren't supposed to do that. So they come back and they find the city is ash. It's just ashen, broken glass, just totally destroyed. And they're ordered to muster in the ruins of it. They say, get all the word bearers together and stand here. So Guilliman is waiting for them with a single company of Ultramarines. Now, a company is only 100 warriors. And there are 100,000 word bearers here. That's how confident Guilliman is right now. He says, what are you going to do? So it says basically, facing an ocean of gray armor, a single company of Ultramarines had made plan to fall with their Primarch. So Corfron, we talk about Corfron, Lorgar's foster father, is there. And then Lorgar arrives too. And then with Guilliman as well is Malcador. And we talk about Malcador. Malcador is the Emperor's right-hand man, his sidekick. And Malcador is basically telling Lorgar, like, you messed up. You weren't supposed to be doing this stuff and, lots of this stuff. And Lorgar says, I don't understand. Like, I don't want to talk to you, Malcador. I want to talk to the Emperor himself. Malcador says, you are not worthy to talk to the Emperor himself. And Lorgar backhands him and slaps him away so hard and so fast, it almost shatters Malcador's bones. And Malcador's on the ground like, oh, okay, all right, relax. Which is really goes to show, like, Malkinor usually looks like an old man, right? You've seen him. He looks like a frail old man. A Primarch backhands him, and he just goes, "Oh, that one kind of hurt a little bit." So it's like, yeah, Malkinor is not. He's got a sleeper build. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's hiding his true potential. It's like, I'll let you get away with that one. Next time, though,
It's like the what's the dude from Avatar, the Earth King? It's like looks all friendly, like takes off his robe. And
right. He looks fat and it's ripped. And you're just like, well, yeah, like Malkinor takes out the robe. He's just jacked. He's like, where are you hiding that? So Malkinor tells me, he says, the Emperor, basically Malkinor, Lorgar is mad because he's like, the Emperor will hear about this. And Malkinor's like, the Emperor already knows, you idiot. Who do you think told us to come here? And Lorgar's like, impossible. No, I don't believe you. No, liar, you're lying. And he says, fine. And then basically, Malkinor just does a little call and he says, you're going to have to come down here. He doesn't believe you. And then Lorgar's like, huh? And all of a sudden, this blinding golden flash of light teleports down to the ruins of Monarchia. And it is the Emperor showing up with 5 custodians. And it is so bright and such a dazzling explosion of teleportation light that actually blinded a couple of the Space Marines for a minute. And they had to be like, whoa, that was crazy. And Lorgar kind of can handle it because he's a Primarch. Even for a second, he had like squint because there's so like this dazzling goldness. Now, there's one thing that I have to explain here before we get into the next part, is that word bearers have a thing that they do when they bring a world into compliance. They all kneel. It is called the rite of, I didn't write it down, but it's the rite of something. It's basically kind of to give thanks for joining into the thing, right? It's like an honorable thing. They're giving thanks to the people of the planet.
Okay.
Now, the word bearers can't look at the Emperor, right? He's just too, such that golden aura, right? You just can't look at him too long. And it's just so blinding, and it's just so much just eminence. But Lorgar sees him perfectly, right? Because it's, they have a ability to see the Emperor for how he is, some kind of. Remember we talked about, I think last episode, when he sees the Emperor, he seems like a regular old guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yep, okay. So he sees Lorgar, and Lorgar says, Father, you're here. And then the Emperor doesn't speak, but he says, sends out a little psychic wave out and says, kneel. When it says kneel, it whispers with the power of a hammer to the forehead. This psychic wave, kneel. 100,000 warriors go down. All of them drop to the knee. And even Argel Tal, who's there too, actually. I don't know if I said that, but he is here as well. He's part of the group called the Serrated Sun, which is like a special forces group. It's kind of like a chapter within the Legion.
Okay.
But it's not really a chapter because there's only like 10 of them. So anyways, Argel Tal also goes down, but he doesn't even know that he does. He finds himself kneeling, and he realizes, he says, this was not fealty nor worship nor service. This was slavery. Like, he's already being like, this is not okay. This is not what we do. And 100 Ultramarines are left standing. They don't kneel. So it's even worse. It's like, wait, what are we? They're not kneeling.
Come on, man.
That's not fair. So they feel such shame from this because they're forced to do their right to the Emperor in front of the Ultramarines as punishment, basically, to the people that burned their perfect city. And the Emperor basically lays it out clearly, right? He says, you are a general, my son, not a high priest. He says, this has been 40 years of your crusade. You've produced worship and produced very little else. He's like, basically, I ran the numbers. You were in last place. Even the other two that we don't talk about had better numbers than you. So what's going on, buddy? And he says, it is because Lorgar basically says, it is the Imperium of you, the Emperor. I was doing worshiping you. And he says, it is not of me. It is the Imperium of man. Listen to me. Imperium of man. I am a man, just like you are a man. He's like, I don't know if I am, though.
Hard cut to his like massive
I'm a
pathos.
man.
Guys, it's the Imperium of Man.
This giant golden god. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, sure.
And the Emperor says, and it's kind of an interesting thing, he says, 18 Primarchs have been found and returned at this point. 18 legions in the field doing all this thing. And he says to Lorgar, out of all of them, you alone have failed me. So, and this kind of goes in that when we talked about those 2 missing Primarchs. Lorgar has a genuine fear here that's going to happen to him too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to turn to the 3rd missing Primarch. It's actually, and we're not going to get into it much here, but in the first Heretic, he talks to Magnus about that. Like, he's like, generally, like, I don't want to go missing, And Magnus is like, well, you probably won't. I think you'll be fine. He's like, are you sure? He's like, probably. Anyways, I gotta go do something. I gotta go read something about the warp too. So Lorgar is now kneeling in the ash as well. And he takes the ash up and he wipes across his face. He does the Metal Gear Solid 5 thing, right? And he smeared black ash across his face, tarnishing his features with the powdered bones of the perfect city. Now, a lot of times this book says too, is that, or even all this stuff, they always say, not Argel Tal, Lorgar looks just like the Emperor. Out of all the Primarchs, the one who looks most like the Emperor is Lorgar, which is interesting because Lorgar doesn't have hair. And the Emperor has like the black hair.
Okay.
But I guess if Lorgar could grow hair, he would look like that. But they always said that Lorgar looks just like the Emperor, like one for one almost. Except for like the golden tattoos he always has. But like this facial wise, like his visage. So it was also ironic too, because like you were made in his image, right? And you did the thing, and he's punishing you for doing the thing. So it's a lot of layers here. After the Emperor's like, all right, now I gotta go. Do whatever you're doing. So Emperor leaves, and Gilman stays behind to talk to Lorgar. And he's standing there, and he crosses his arms from his chest, and he sees this golden Aquila across his chest, which is the Emperor's like eagle. And it like gleams in the sun. And Lorgar is so mad, he runs me, punches Gilman right in the chest as hard as he can. And it knocks him on the ground, and it cracks the Aquila right in half. This nice brand new thing he just got for being such a good boy. He's like, oh, you broke my medal. Come on. Dude, I just got... And he is... Lorgar says, you will never mock me again, brother. Is that understood? And Gilman says, okay. Yeah, you got it. And then the Shell Shadow Crusade happens. But before he walks away, Lorgar asks Gilman how he would feel if it was one of his own worlds. And Lorgar basically says, would you smile if it was when Ultramar's worlds died in fire? Tarantis, Espadar, Calth? He's like, write that down. And you find out how he feels about that. Yeah. And during this whole kind of conversation, the word bearers, once the Emperor leaves, they can get back up to their feet. And once Lorgar punches Gilman down, all the word bearers pick up their guns and aim at the Ultramarines. And Argel Tal has a thought. It says, I gave the order to hold fire while silently hoping someone would break it. He's like, I just come on. We could get him right now. Nobody would even know. Obviously, the Emperor's like right in orbit. I mean, she would, what did you do?
Is Malcador also still there too?
Yeah, but I was like, what are you doing? Actually, there's a part, we'll get into it later, but like Malcador is so strong, people don't even realize it. Like, I think it just during the Eldar Crusade or something like that, like he like says something, Horus says something to Malcador, kind of giving him like, I don't need this little man here talking to me. I only want to talk to the Emperor. And Malcador's like, say that again. He says, I don't need it. And he starts choking him like with the big psycho powers. He's like, he's like, yeah. Relax, buddy. There's a reason I'm here. There's a reason I was the first Lord of the Imperium. So, yeah. Now, everybody leaves. Well, the Ultramarines leave. Malcador leaves. Gilman leaves. Everybody leaves. And they leave kind of the word bearers to deal with this mess. So, Argel Tal is standing in the cargo bay of a Thunderhawk watching the ramp close and stops it halfway with his fist. And he says, I saw something, movement in the distance, at the edge of the northern craters. Malnor, one of his sergeants, looks and says, I don't see anything. I just see dust and dead rock. I think you're seeing things. And Zafin says, look, man, we got to be in orbit. I don't want to get in trouble again. All right, we got to hurry up. Dude, I want him to yell at me. That was scary. No, stop. That was like really scary. And Argel says, yes, somebody's alive out there. So he puts the ramp back down. He walks out without his bolter, without his swords. He says, nothing's going to threaten me. So he finds out there's a girl in filthy scarlet robes falling over. And she catches her foot on the rock and like breaks her ankle and falls in and collapses. And she's lying there wheezing, and she's trying to stand up, and her palms and knees are covered in bleeding sores. And it looks like basically she's been like running through this situation for days now. And Argel Tal sees her doing this, and he doesn't get closer. He's like, what's she doing? And he says something. He's like, who are you? And she says, who's there? She calls out. And Argel Tal says, who indeed? And he holds his hands up. Basically, he's like, I'm not a threat. He's doing the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World gimmick. She's a raptor. He's like, no, don't. You stop right there. And she says, you're one of them. And he says, I'm Captain Argel Tal of the 7th Assault Company, Serrated Sun Chapter, 17th Legio Astartes. And she says, 17th? You're not a false angel? And Argel Tal says, I came to this world 6 decades ago. I was not false then, nor am I now. I'm the real deal. So he puts her hand out for her to like grab it, and she doesn't grab it. And his visors reading all her like ailments, because they have their like the reason they wear the helmets is not just because like it protects them, it's because it gives them like data, like a bunch of like Iron Man style like scanning, zoom in, do all this, like run the numbers on it. What is this material made out of? What are they shooting? It's just like a diagnostic Batman, Iron Man type technology.
Okay.
So he's running all this diagnostic on her there, and he's like malnutrition, infection, broken bones, all these different things. And he finds out like her legs are so bad they're probably have to be cut off. And he tells her. And she says, what color is your armor, Angel? And she says, answer me this question, I beg you. And he says, and you are blind. Forgive me for not noticing before. Sorry, I didn't notice you were blind. You want to do a high five, and she didn't do it. He's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, oops, my bad.
You see that? I think a news article or something like that. Or it was something maybe Comic-Con, I don't know. But there was like these blind kids, and the person was there, did an interview with them. And he's like, "All right, good job, everybody." Goes to a high five. And he pulls it down. It's like, oh man, I know that one. It's like, sorry.
I've seen one. I think it was one. It was a lady interviewing a little girl, and she's like, "So what'd you see in that moment?" And she's like, "I'm blind." And she goes, "Oh, my bad." It's like, oh.
I can tell you feel that way. I mean, yeah, it's like, oh, my fault. So she says, "I saw the city die. I saw it burning as flame rained from the stars. The sky fire stole my eyes on the day of judgment." And he says, "It's called flash blindness. Your retinas are bleached by an oversaturation of light. So I may return in time." He was like, "All right, liberal. Well, listen to facts.
I'm going to destroy you with facts and lots of
Facts and logic. Actually, you just have sun blindness. It's something called flash blindness. You would know if you looked it up." So he puts her hand on his shoulder, and she's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Please don't kill me." He's like, "I will not kill you. I'm guiding you to safety. We saved this world 60 years ago, Khârn. We never meant to bring this upon you. What is your name?" She says, "Cyrene. But what color is your armor, Angel? You never answered me." He says, "Blue." "Oh."
Next
away. "Blue." "Oh, and that's actually world leaders." "Oh, even worse." She says, "Please tell me." He says, "Gray." And then she bursts into tears and allows herself to be carried back, because obviously the gray is of the true angels, the word bearers. So that is the only survivor they take from Monarchia, is Cyrene. And she stays with him for the next 40 years, actually. She is, so at that point, she is, I never really thought about that. It's like, yeah, she'd be about 58 during like most of what I'm going to talk about here. I always think we're looking like a young person, because actually this picture here is when they pick her up. You can see she's all malnourished and she's exploded. I don't know. It's very dramatized. I guess it's Argel Tal. It's weird that, I don't know. I feel there's some creative liberties here, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, so she's a very small woman. And so they take her back, and they go back home to their planet called Colchis. And they're like, "We need to figure some things out. Like, what are we doing next here?" So Lorgar calls for Argel Tal personally, which is strange. Not because, Argel Tal is a captain, but he's not the first captain. He's the 7th captain. Did I say 7th?
I think so.
Yeah, 7th of the Cell Company. So I'm going to get 7th captain. So there's 6 guys before him that would be, in line.
Where does Erebus fit into that? Is it kind of completely separate?
Yeah, I think chaplains are just chaplains. I don't think they're captains. I think like the first captain is Abaddon in Luna Wolves. I think first captain Dark Angels was, I can't remember. It's not Luther. I can't remember. I don't know. Your first captain usually means the best captain, strongest, whatever. Which in real military usually isn't what it means. It just means like you're the first company.
Yeah.
But numbers, a smaller number better, right? He's number 1. He was number 1. So he goes for Argel Tal, and he's kind of confused. He's like, "Why'd you call for me?" And Lorgar says, "Were you and your chaplain not the two who lifted me from the perfect city's dust and set me on my feet once more?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." Because when they basically like, "Lorgar, we got to get out of here. Lorgar, we got to leave." He's like, "I don't want to. I'm going to die in this dust.
No.
I'm going to lay here forever and die." And they're like, "You're not going to do that, though." So, yeah, it was him and Zaphon picked up Lorgar out of the dust. And Lorgar says, "Corphoron professed not to remember your names." The old man has a black sense of humor. So Corphoron is not a true Space Marine. Remember, he was too old. So he got like the Luther treatment where they gave him all the juice to kind of get him up, but he's not really a Space Marine, but he's like close enough. So Lorgar brings in Syrene, who has been aboard the fleet for weeks, and she is put in front of the Primarch for the first time, and she smiles at him. She says, "I can see you. I can see your smile." And she was like, "She can't actually see me. She's seeing a reflection of my psychic power." And basically he says, "She cannot see me. She senses me, my aura, and her mind misinterprets it as sight. Her eyes are still dead. Gilliman's incendiary rage blinded her forever." But then he says out loud, "Yes, you can see me." Lying Lorgar. And she says, "As bright as the sun, I see gold and gold and gold." He kneels down and like touches her face. And he tells her that her life belongs to nobody but herself, and that he has no claim on it. It's like, "You don't owe me anything." And now remember, I said 40 years later, but right now she's still 17. It hasn't been 40 years from that incident yet.
Yeah.
And he asks her, he says, "Will you grant me forgiveness? And will you forgive what I did to your world, to your perfect city, and to your precious eyes?" And she said, "Yeah, what? You didn't do anything, what?" And she says, "Can I serve you?" And he says, "Of course, but I have a special job for you. You will be something called a listener, basically. And a listener is a person, kind of like a priest, right? What's that called? The confession room?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a confession person. And he basically phrases it as, "You have heard my sins and forgiven me. Would you do the same for my sons?" So she becomes a confessor of the word. And her job for the next 40 years is to sit and listen to word bearers tell what they have done. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I get different jobs?
Hey, so
There were children on this world, and I just killed them all. Oh, okay.
okay.
I'm sorry.
How'd you feel about that?
I actually didn't feel anything. Oh, in the space, I don't feel anything. Oh, so Lorgar tells her about Argel Tal and says, he was betrayed by Erebus himself, but he chose the blade over the Crozius. And he says, you walking another path is a great blow to his pride and disappointment that cut him to his core. He's like, he's still kind of upset about that. And Argel Tal says, there's nothing to forgive. Erebus is entitled to be angry. Like, it's fun. I get it, but he'll get over it. But it kind of, the book says that choosing another path, that Argel Tal thought was putting it very delicately. Basically, it wasn't quite choosing another path, It never really explains like what the falling out was, but it was bad enough where obviously there's some tension between those two.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot worse than it was put. So another thing that happened as well, as the Emperor sent 20 custodians, and we know how I feel about this, 20 custodians to sit with the word bearers to kind of keep an eye on them. They called the Ocular Imperator, which basically means the Emperor's eyes. Make sure, hey, I know I did the whole thing, but make sure they're not doing any more funny business, okay? Now, mind you, this is 20 custodians for 100,000 or more word bearers. I just don't, they're not superpowered people. I mean, they are, but like, they're not psychers. They can't like see everything that's happening. So a lot of it slips by them, and we'll see that as we go on here. Spoiler alert. And they're all be splitting across 4 chapters, five custodians each chapter. And Lorgar says, I've granted his request that one of the custodians group travel with the serrated sun. And the custodian that goes with the serrated sun, which is Argel Tal's group, is called Aquilon. And this is a picture of Aquilon, custodian. I mean, they all kind of look the same, the hair and the wings. Kind of a different style of art, though. You don't seem like that pointy. I think they're a lot more, I don't really have any other pictures of custodians, but you don't see them like that. They're a little more softened up now. But maybe his armor was made like that. Who knows? And Lorgar then tells his legion what they're going to do. He said, the next is we're going to go and find out whether or not he was justified in worshiping. Basically, we seek the place where gods and mortals meet, seeking divinity in a galaxy my father believes is godless. The legion will undertake the pilgrimage. The pilgrim, Runestorm reference. Now we're jumping ahead 40 years. Syrene is now 58, if I can do math right. And the word bearers have spent this whole time doing what they were told to do, taking worlds, building nothing, just compliance. And they're getting very good at it now. They got kind of kicked into gear here. Eventually, they find a world called Cadia. And they also find a creature called Ingathel. And Ingathel is a demon, but they don't know that because nobody knows what a demon is yet. And it kind of is possessing a woman. And this woman is doing a ritual. They end up on Cadia, and they're doing this weird ritual. It's like tribal sacrifice ritual, and they stumble upon it. And it's very, like, they're just like all kind of like weirded out by it. Like, what is going on here? Like, this seems unnatural. And what the ritual requires is 10 human beings being impaled alive on spears. Real brutalist stuff here. And going down the planet, they go down the planet, and one of the custodians goes with them called Vendatha. And Vendatha is a custodian attached to Argel Tal's company. And they're pretty close friends, actually. Like, Argel Tal doesn't mind the custodians at all. He's friends with most of them because he likes the way they fight. They like the way they work. They're efficient. They're smart, It's not really like that, It's, you would think they'd be like, oh, you're just here to make sure we do what we're supposed to do. And they are, but they're also like, they want them to do the right thing, So Argel Tal is close with them. And also this guy, Vendatha. So Vendatha walks in the chamber and sees these people in spears and the Primarch kind of hanging around. And he says, by the authority invested in me by the Emperor of Mankind, I do judge thee a traitor to the Imperium. Basically saying to Lorgar, if you continue with this ritual, I'm going to kill you. Whatever this woman, demon thing, like it's not demon, but whatever this weird creature is telling you to do not do it. If you proceed this ritual, I will have to stop you. Like that's, now I can put my foot down because that's what I was supposed to do. And Lorgar says, you kind of want to know what happens next, though. And then he's like, and that's what he says, like, no, all right, that's it. Then you're dying. So he basically goes to hit his teleport beacon. So I'm going to call I'm calling the homies. But nothing happens because Lorgar cut off the teleporting. He's like, come on now. I knew you. Like, you think I'm stupid? And Lorgar says, Aquilon and your brothers would not be appearing to aid you. They would never even know you needed them. And Vendatha says, I confess I had not anticipated this. Well done, Lorgar. That's kind of crazy. You didn't think, like, what if he cuts up the teleporter? Oh, no. So Argel Tal says, don't do this. Ben, please do not do this. Don't do it. Wait. And he says, it's not too late, Ben. And Lorgar says, you can leave the chamber. Lorgar says, he basically says, leave the chamber or shoot me. This is all you can do, Vendatha. I'm not going to stop this ritual. I want to see what happens. And Vendatha says, the choice you offer is no choice at all. And he takes a shot at the Primarch with his Guardian Spheres. So here's a picture of the Guardian Spheres. It's a spear with a gun on it. It's very cool. They have a gun here. They also have a gun here. Actually, I don't know if that's a gun. I think the trigger's here to shoot it. I don't know if that's the other thing. Maybe not. I don't know. But these spheres are handmade for each custodian. Every custodian is handmade by the Emperor himself. I mean, they all look the same, but they're not all the same internally. Like every armor is perfectly made to their proportions. Every weapon is perfectly made for their hands, their fighting style, or whatever. It's like gene coded to them. So yes. So he shoots him, Lorgar, right in the chest. And Argel Tal gets his sword up in the second he shoots this bolter out, and he cuts the blade up and blows up midair. But the blast is so powerful, it still knocks him down though. And all of a sudden, a bunch of warbearers start attacking Vendatha because I think there's 5 warbearers here. I think 5 or 4 warbearers here. I think 5, counting Lorgar. Oh, no, not Lorgar, Argel Tal. And then 6 if you count Lorgar.
Okay.
Yeah, there's attacking me are 4 warbearers. They could try to jump him. So they try to jump him, and Rikus, who is a chaplain as well, makes a move, and he gets his throat just slit instantly. And then Sar Quarrel gets decapitated. And then Dumos, chapter master of this Radiant Sun, gets his hands taken off first and then his head. And that all happens within like 3 seconds. Because that's what the custodians do, man. I'm guessing them up. All right. You kidding me? Oh, I'm about to get mad again. He does that in 3 seconds. He kills 3 of them. But then Zafin jumps up from behind and shoots him in the back and drops Vendatha down. And Vendatha's like, you guys are cowards and you're a fraud. I hate this. Even you, Argel Tal. I can't believe. And Argel Tal throws his sword through his mouth out the back to kill him instantly. And basically shuts him up. And he feels terrible for it. He's like, that was my friend. That was the homie. And Zafin says, nicely done, brother. And Argel Tal punches Zafin, knocks him down. He says, we have just killed one of the Emperor's own guardians. And your eulogy in this moment is nicely done, brother. Are you insane? We sit on the edge of heresy against the Imperium. And Vendatha is still alive. The sword through his head. He's on the ground, still alive, because it's a custodian. That's my guys right there. And that's why Argel Tal's also the GOAT too. He's just like, that was really cool. He's like, look what we just did. If any of them find out about this, we're all dead. All 100,000 are gone. We are the 3rd missing Primarch now. Well, actually, it even says when we talk about the 2 missing Primarchs, the reason Ultramarines are so big is actually they took some of those Space Marines from the other ones, and they took it into Ultramarines. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Vendatha's still breathing. He can't fight though. He's kind of disabled here. And Lorgar says, there's no virtue in cruelty. I wrote that once in my book. If you guys would read it every now and then, I handed it up to people because we talked about before, but he's something called the Book of Lorgar, which is basically a religious / philosophical text. It's kind of like rules and the way you should carry yourself and the way things. I mean, it's a religious text.
I imagine he's like a college professor. It's like, so if you buy my book here,
if you guys did your homework and read the book and the assignment, you would know what I had said about it. But interesting. So he says, end his suffering, Argel Tal. But Ingithel's like, no. I need him alive to put on the sphere. And Argel Tal says, no. Think you mind, demon thing? And Argel Tal says, this was not a sacrifice for your blood magic. He aimed a weapon at the Emperor's son, and he will die for this sin. That is all. And Lorgar says, obey me or I will kill you where you stand. Basically, Lorgar's like, actually, put him up in that sphere. I changed my mind. I want to see what happens. And all of a sudden, the exact second he goes to do it, a vision passes over Argel Tal. A shadow passes over Argel Tal's sight, something terrible in aspect, something winged and wrathful beyond mortal imagining. And he goes as quickly as it arrives. And he says, no answers are worth this. So we don't actually know if he puts him on the sphere, but Vendatha does end up on the sphere alive. Eventually, he does die, though. He just bleeds out. And eventually, the Cadian shaman then paints Ingithel's stomach with it in the shape of this constellation. Uses the blood and it paints this whole thing. And the constellation is the serrated sun. And Argel Tal's like, I don't like that. Hey, that's our thing. Basically, Argel Tal's own chapter drawn in his friend's blood on the thing they came here to create. It's very Argel Tal's really having some conflicts here.
Yeah.
So this part gets a little wacky. I'll give you a little heads up here because we're kind of not going to jump around a lot, but it's a weird retelling. So what's happening here is something happened And then Argel Tal is now telling Lorgar what happened, and Lorgar is writing it down. So it's kind of out of order. So think of it like in the movies where the guy's already at the police station and he's telling the cops, and then that's the movie. The story of the movie is that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happening here.
Okay.
So it might get a little funny, but I'll try. So what happened was 300 word bearers go into the Eye of Terror aboard a ship called the Orpheus Lament. It's a small ship, nothing too crazy, not a battleship or anything like that, with Ingathel aboard as a guide. And outside the viewport, things are throwing themselves against the Gellerfield and bursting on it. And after a while, Argel Tal notices that these same faces keep smashing against his Gellerfield, trying to get in. Now, they don't know what these are, right? Nobody has any idea about anything war-related, except for the Emperor, obviously, and Malkador and all those guys. And Argel Tal says, are they souls? And Ingathel says, Eldar souls, the flesh of the Neverborn that humanity once named demon. And actually, I think at this point, Ingathel has appeared as a demon. He is now like a full demon. I don't have a picture of him, but maybe I can find one. He's kind of like a giant, weird snake thing. He is very, very, very dangerous. He's massive. I guess he's a demon prince of chaos. So that's even higher level. That's like almost demon Primarch level of like bad guy here.
Okay.
I guess this is kind of what he looks like. This best picture I can get if it would load. But yeah, he's this giant, kind of like how Fulgrim becomes a giant snake, but this guy's like more nasty, as you can see. His forearms has a staff, evil snake face. He's a demon prince. This is real bad news. He's so powerful that like even looking at him can kill you. So very bad news there. Bad news bears type situation. So I think at this point he's appeared as this giant snake. So the first world they reach while going through the Eye of Terror is a world called Melisande, and it's a dead world, and nothing lives here. And Argel Tal says, she said, I want to walk on that world. I want to see what's there. And Ingathel says, you would die there. If you step on that world, you would die. And he's like, there's nothing there though. He's like, well, let me tell you a little something. Let me put you on here. He says, there's no less in Melisande as it is. You must see Melisande as it was. And he tells them to close their eyes. And he's like, close your eyes for a minute. I'm going to paint you a picture. So they are standing on a cliff at dawn above a living alien city. And the sun coming over is bright enough to make even the Space Marines' eyes ache through their fancy helmets and eyes. They're ocularator. I don't know. They have like an eye implant as well. That lets them they can like zoom in their vision, kind of. It's, I don't know.
Jarvis enhanced.
Jarvis eyes just go out their head like a cartoon. Whoop. So they're seeing this alien city and they find it beautiful. And it's like, wait a minute, it's aliens. What? No, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to say it's beautiful. Because an Eldar city of spires and minarets turn gold by the sunrise. Bones, gemstones, and spires too delicate for even them to they shouldn't even be able to be as tall as they are, but they are. And it's like this magnificent, perfect city. And Ingathel says, now see the fall. So the sky above them starts running, days and nights pass in a blur, right? I really like the writing of this part of the book. Right? I imagine as like you see this planet and you see like the day-night cycle is going super fast. And as it happens, you see these violet tendrils spread across it, thicken, link up, and stain the air red. So this thing is coming up in the sky, this growing thing. And it's so slow, probably if you lived there, you would never notice. But as you I guess Eldar kind of lived forever, so I guess they would over time. But it's just the smallest little change. It's kind of like like Earth when Pangea and all that, right? Like it's just so slow you can't even really notice it until it's like, oh yeah, 3 million years ago, this is what it looked like. You're like, oh wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So anyways, this thing is creeping up and this heat starts coming up so bad and so hot that it makes even the Space Marines sweat. And below them, the city starts falling down, spires and walkways shattering into the streets and crushing the crowds underneath. Their sorceries are failing, and the demon tells them that this is one of the slower ones, actually. He says, let's go look at another one. And another one, they see everything dies in moments. It's like an instant apocalypse. And Argel Tal can hear the city coming apart from the cliff. And beside him, Zaphon is loving it. He says, aliens, may they all burn, soulless and forgotten. All right, buddy, can you relax?
Who invited this guy?
Who invited this guy?
And this is all happening in the Eye of Terror, right?
Yeah. So Ingathel brought him the Eye of Terror and wanted to show him a vision of what happened to this planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Like this way, he's so powerful. He makes like a living vision for them to witness it. And none of the others disagreed though with Zaphon because they can't help it. They're like, yeah, good, good. They're bad. They should die. And then it starts raining, hot and metallic, and the clouds fully open up. It comes down in sheets thick enough to stain the bone towers that are standing. And Zaphon shuts his eyes and lifts his face into it. And he says, "This is not human blood. It's too sweet. This is cherry syrup." So yeah, I don't know. I thought it'd be fun. You guys seem bored. I want to make you do something fun.
Come on, guys. I'm not that bad.
It's just my demon does make you do cool things sometimes. So Argel Tal wipes his face clear, and down in the city, things are coming out of the shadows and rising out of the lakes of blood collecting in the streets. Some run on spindly legs, some crawl on massive boneless limbs. All of them are half-formed, and none of them are the same. And Ingathel says, my kin take in physical form. They hunt souls and flesh and blood and bone. And they run in packs, and dragon survivors are just eating up all these Eldar. And Argel Tal, who's now 200 years old, mind you, says, it's like, this is almost like, this is insane, what I'm saying. Like, to say it again, like, they have never seen anything like this before in their entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
Demons, Eldar may a little bit, but like, all this is so beyond their comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of book says, genocide should be purification. There was nothing of purity in this insane unleashing of noble powers. So the way they've done it is that I just go to your world, I kill your leadership, and then I take over your planet, right? Classic colonialism.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is weird. I like it. I want it out of here. And all of a sudden, new towers start growing up out of the wreckage, made of living flesh with faces and flayed arms worked into the walls. They're reaching into the streets and pulling Eldar to use as material. It's just Hellraiser, this brutality here.
Mm-hmm.
And Argel Tal is standing there. He's just watching, and it's just like, and Ingathel's like, keep watching. It's getting even better.
Guys, this is the good part.
Guys, wait, no, don't look away. Keep looking. Hey, guy's holding his phone up to you. No, look. I work with this guy who would do that, and it's just like I'm looking. I'm watching the video. Don't worry, man. It's good.
Oh, but look.
No, you're not looking. I looked away for 1 second because we walked in the room, and all right, like relax. So he's watching, and he basically says, "What are you showing me this for? What is this all about?" And Argel Tal, and then he says, "Answer me." And Ingathel says, "This is not how empires die, word bearer. This is how gods are born. She who thirsts, Slaanesh. It has 1,000 names. It's Slaanesh. You probably heard of Slaanesh. I don't know. She had 1,000 names. Don't worry about it, buddy. You can say whatever you want." And basically, he's showing him this is the fall of the Eldar, right? This is the birth of Slaanesh. This is what happened when the Eldar got a little too funny. Born out of what the entire species did to itself, and it woke up to find its, even like the worshippers are even running from this thing, right? Because they knew it was happening, the Eldar. I don't think people always know that. Like, just one day they woke up and they're all dead, and Slaanesh was like, no, they knew something was happening. They just didn't care. They thought they could handle it. It's the ego of the Eldar, right? Like, whatever, a couple of demons, we can handle demons. Like, no, this is something beyond that. So they even started worshiping it. So them like, yes, because they had their own gods, right? They had many gods. Avatars of Cain are literally an avatar of their god of war. That Fulgrim can choke to death. So, yeah. So they knew it was happening. And the Eye of Terror, they realized, is not just a feature of space. And that's what they thought. They thought the Eye of Terror was a weird not warp storm. Well, they thought it was a warp storm, but they didn't know it was not man-made, but it was Eldar-made. Like this rift in the galaxy is because of the Eldar. And Ingathel says, this endless storm, this Eye of Terror, is the echo of his birth cries. And Argel Tal says, blood of the gods, I have seen enough. Take me away from this awfulness. They open their eyes in the ship in clean armor, but they still smell a little bit, though, that metallic blood smell. And one of the sergeants says, we got to turn the ship around. We got to get out of here. This is getting wacky. And Zaphon says, no, we must see what we got to, let's keep looking here. And basically, they kind of a realization they have is that Lorgar was right. There are gods, but the Emperor is a liar. The Emperor says, there is no gods but man. And then they go in here, they find a god, and then they're like, wow, so he's a liar? Okay, wow. And Monarchia was basically burned to stop him from finding out. But to be fair, imagine if this happened to Monarchia. The Emperor would be even more mad.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, demons start coming out and killing all these people. He's like, oh, glass it. We got it. This. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Monarchia. Bye-bye, whole planet, actually. We're going to just exterminate us. So it's like, I get it. It's just the problem is you can't beat chaos. You just can't. The Emperor could told him, hey, chaos exists, and I want you to be careful around it. They're not going to be careful. Magnus was, even he knew, even he wasn't careful. So it's just like, it's one of those things where there's no way to win here.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny that they're like, yeah, good, aliens dying. And then it's like, bro, there's a demon like right there.
This is the biggest demon I've ever seen right there.
And they don't know what the demon is. Like, what? Yeah, but he's cool. He's chill.
Are you some type of alien? No. Oh, no, all right. You're cool.
Yeah, you're chill.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about demons yet. That wasn't brainwashed for that yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have this realization. And Argel Tal says, we cannot carry this message back to the Imperium. It'll be a civil war, Zaphon. The Imperium will tear itself apart. Ain't that for true? Yeah, there's a certain guy that really can't know about this happening. Erebus. Because I don't think he's here actually with them. He's doing something else right now. I think he might be hanging with Lorgar. So he's not here on this pilgrimage. So, but yeah, I mean, Argel Tal with the prediction of the millennium, is like, hey, if the Imperium knows about chaos, I think something bad could happen. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if there's a name for that, like an alliterative name for something that may happen because of that. Maybe like no, I got nothing. Maybe the Magnus mess up? No. Maybe the Lorgar's lament? No, I don't know. Maybe something. Anyways, I'm sure they'll figure it out. But Zafin says, but I understand what you're saying, but we need to kind of we can figure out more here. You know, we need to be not pioneers. It's pioneers, right? They would, yeah. The Lewis and Clark, yeah, pioneers. And Dagotal says, we will not be showered with medals for bringing home the truth that hell is a real place. So, fair enough.
I think it's funny. They're like, oh, wait, this is like super cool. Let me keep looking at it.
No, actually, I'm like having a really good time. And if we left, I'd be mad now. It's like, you just said, what? Argel Tal being like, this, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, this is really bad. And the giant demon says, I don't know what's so bad about it.
I'll see what the issue is.
If I usually listen to him, I think your buddies are right. It's a 10-foot tall demon, like a snake with like a demon face. They're right. I don't like why you being a killjoy? All right, party pooper, relax.
Why are you hating, Go? Come on, man.
What's wrong with me? Apparently, when Ingethel shows up, his smell is so bad that like the regular humans on the ship, like he just can't help but throw up, and almost makes some of the space marines throw up too. But they have to like use all their willpower to suppress it. It's just like, no, bro, it's my aura. It's like, it's not aura, you stink. It's like, you smell so bad. I'm a demon. I don't think about it. What? We don't have showers in the warp. It's a whole thing. Because he leaves like a snail trail too as it like slides around. It's just like, who's gonna clean that up?
Unwashed Discord commodity.
Actually, the rope is pretty much the coolest thing ever.
Actually, this is actually pretty epic.
You should tell Lorgar. I think you would really like this. Listen, princess, I'm gonna show you something very cool. Don't make me mad, or you'll regret it. So yes, so the demon then takes him on another trip. He says, I want to show you something else as well. And he goes way back to Earth. He goes back years before the Great Crusade into a chamber under the Emperor's own palace. He shows him 20 pods with 20 infant Primarchs asleep inside. And now we have been here many times. Horus has been here. Now Argel Tal is here. And also, something else was here too.
Corax, right?
Yes, Corax. Yeah. But I mean, he was there in the real world. This is a vision. But I'm trying to think of what came here like a vision. I don't know. But so a lot of people have been here in one way or another, weirdly enough. And this chamber, you know, obviously it's a Primarch project, and Argel Tal reads a prayer scratched into one of them and finds that this is Guilliman. He finds Guilliman's pod. And Ingethel says, get ready, something really cool is about to happen. And Argel Tal says, this Gellerfield, it fails, doesn't it? And Ingethel says, it will fail in exactly 37 beats of your heart, Argel Tal. Which, what does that mean? He has two hearts.
Which one?
Yeah, both? Like, are we cutting in half, or is it 37, they beat at the same time? I guess it's, I don't know, within like they say 6 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever it is. So all of a sudden, yeah, the night the Primarchs were scattered across the galaxy, you know, took all 20 of them out of the pods and all these different worlds, right? Which is the most important event that happened, right? Because without this, none of bad stuff ever happens. Well, maybe, we don't know. I would like to see an EU, right, where, or AU, alternate universe, I don't know, a fan where, what happens if they didn't? Would things work out? Probably. And Argel Tal is watching this happen, and all of a sudden he sees a bunch of cables that run into these pods, these life support cables. And he is standing in the vision of a past he cannot change. He's holding his two swords. And Zafin says, do it. Let it begin. And Torgal says, do it, and we will carry the answers back to the Imperium. And he starts counting down his head. All right. 3, 2, 1, and he cuts the cords. Blades chop down, crashing through steel, iron, rubber, copper, bronze, and vat-grown blood. Both swords exploded in his hands, their blades shattering like smashed glass, and decorating his bare face with bloody cuts. So this is where things get weird. Are you telling me Argel Tal sent the Primarchs, all 20 of them out?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
but how? Did he go back in time? But if he goes back in time, then I don't know. Is this like a symbolism thing? I don't know.
Right. I was like, is this him actually going back and doing this, or is this like he's in someone's place that like is doing? Yeah, weird.
Could be that too, right? So it's very odd. You're like,
yeah,
like how does this work really?
And if he didn't do it, would that mean that just everything would then change?
Right, but yeah. So it's like it's very weird. It's like a Terminator thing here, right? Where it's like doing that causes you to exist, but yet you always have to do it. Kind of creates this looper. So, and all of a sudden, Argel Tal wakes back up on his own ship, and his swords, which his swords are red iron. I don't know if I have a picture of them. I don't think I do. but they are these. I don't think so, actually. I don't know. It's just like these two swords that are red iron compared to what he, people usually have like regular silver swords, but his are red, so it's cool. And the swords in person here are broken beyond repair. The shards darkened by scorch marks from the detonation that ruined them. And Zeba says that looks real to me. So, did he really just go back in time and cause the Primarch explosion? Who knows? It's a weird one. I thought it was strange when I was reading it and listening to it in the book or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I don't. Whatever. It's 40K. It doesn't matter. There's also something else that makes it even more weird later on. We'll get into, but anyways. So Ingethel asks for one more thing. He says, one more thing. Lower your Gellerfield for me real quick. And they go, just stop it real quick. I want to show you something. And they're like, Argel says, you are insane, creature. You are not tricking me. And he says, we are done with kneeling, Ingethel. And Zeba says, well, hold on.
Come on.
But he might have an idea. Do you see that thing? Like the most evil looking demon? No, I'm cool, I swear.
Guys, come on, be like super cool.
Literally the devil next to you. No, dude, like, why are you being weird? Like, I don't know, but I think he has the demon right there. Like, I think it's the actual devil. Yeah, I don't know. He might be cool.
So wait, if they have the Gellerfield, do they know? They have to know it at some.
They know the warp exists.
Yeah, okay.
And they know that things sometimes will happen in the warp if you don't have a Gellerfield. But they don't know what those, like, if let's say they say Gellerfield's down, demons invade your ship. Well, that ship is gone forever, so you'll never know what it was. You just know the ship is gone. So it's hard to know. They just know this. They need to have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not really. They don't really know what actually happens if you.
Right. They know something bad happens, but it's also different for everybody. Like, remember, I think we talked about one guy has Gellerfield, and all of a sudden, like, his ship just imploded in on itself. One guy, all of a sudden, they exploded into demons. Another guy, like, they get stuck in there forever. So it's all variable. So even one guy could come and say, "Oh, I don't know, it took us like a year to get here instead of like 3 months." Because time dilation. It's like, oh, okay, that's not as bad. But another guy's like, "Oh no, every turn into like slime." And it's like, oh, cool. Yeah. So it's weird one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zafin says, wait a minute, but then what we realize is Zafin was trained by another person who was Erebus. So we see why Zafin is getting all these ways of thinking from.
Yeah.
So Argel says, all right, fine. Destroy the Gellerfield generator. That's an order. All word bearers stand ready. He says, all right, let's get ready. We're going to kill some demons. 91 seconds later, the ship shudders. 91 seconds later, every Vox channel on the board is screaming at once. This was a bad idea. Whoa. Actually, what an awesome idea.
This was so worth it.
They're all going, let's go. All of a sudden, Ingethel uncoiled itself and launched forward, reaching for Malnor first. So, I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Nah, I got you. Like, Zafin dies instantly, and it says Ingethel bursts his secondary heart with a thought and holds him while it happens. It's like, wow. So how do we kill that guy? If he can look at you and just kill you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? He just power word kill? Are you kidding me? That's a level 17 wizard at minimum. So Zafin dies, his heart explodes, and Zafin says, this is not what my Primarch wanted. Like, oh, yeah?
Oh, okay.
And Ingethel says, this is exactly what Lorgar wanted. This is the truth. And then it kills Argel Tal. And the last thing Argel Tal feels is something cold pouring in behind his eyes like oil. And all of a sudden, he sees Zafin standing back up. And then Lorgar watches now we're going back to Lorgar. And what Lorgar watches is Orpheo's Lament go into the storm and come back out 58 seconds later. And aboard the ship, 7 months had passed. So we're talking about that time dilation. For them, they have been in the eye of for 7 months. For Lorgar, it was 1 minute. And he's like, oh, you're back already. It's the scene in Endgame, right?
Oh, yeah.
It'll take 2 minutes, because I think someone did an edited version of like what it actually looks like if you were in the room and they go away, and then like I think 2 minutes later, they're all back again, except for obviously Black Widow. But I saw a comment on that video that was like, I think it would be better if they did that. And I'm like, okay, so you have a 10-minute movie? Hey, buddy, never get in Hollywood. Like,
hey, bro, don't cook with me.
Yeah, we'll let you in the kitchen. He's burning it. So, yeah, they get back, and Orpheo's Lament is there, and only 38 men come back out of the 100. So other word bearers died, and every crew member is dead. Every single human crew member is dead. And Lorgar gets calls in the box, and Argel Tal says, 7 months, there are barely 40 of us left. So Argel Tal is not alive again. Wait a minute, didn't you just die? Curious. And Argel Tal says, we have been drinking each other's blood to stay alive. So he basically says, yeah, we ate the humans. It got bad. Which is interesting, right? Because it's like, I get it. It's supposed to be like a whole event horizon / kind of, it was so bad for them in this 1 minute of time. But 7 months for a Space Marine is not long at all. I mean, that's like 5 minutes. So, like, they can survive a very long time without eating. So I don't know why they needed to eat the people.
Yeah.
Maybe his warp stuff made them hungrier or something weird happened. But it's very interesting because, like, there have been situations where you see Space Marines, like, I was stuck here for 2 months and I just kind of sat there and then waited and then that was good. It's like, I'm a little hungry now, but it's like, it's very interesting that it's the first time we ever see Space Marines have to eat is like, yeah, we didn't cannibalize. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, I immediately thought of, like, Curse just floating out in space. And, like, if he can do it, and
Well,
I know he's a Primarch,
yeah,
but, like,
he's different.
like, still.
Or like, yeah, like any of them. I mean,
Yeah, I know there was one example we were talking about that, or I think it was like some random word bearer in like the Ultramar system was just sitting out there for a really long time.
oh, yeah, even like Alpha Legion, buried
Yeah,
underground. I guess they have the Susan membrane, but like it's still like
it's like you could have done it.
yeah, but 7 months. I think you're just like, we should eat these guys. It's like I think you guys are demons now. That's what it was. It's like we weren't hungry. We just wanted to start eating people. So Lorgar comes aboard and he's carrying a box of vulture feather quills, an inkpot, a roll of papyrus. He says, "I'm going to write all this down. Tell me exactly what happened." And he looks at Argel Tal and he says, "You have 2 souls." And Lorgar says, "Tell me everything. Oh, I want to hear it." So Argel Tal tells him everything, and that's what we just covered was what Argel Tal tells him. So, and he says, Argel Tal says, "And we heard Horus's voice shouting defiant and enraged. It was as if he was there with us, seeing what we saw during the Primarch scene." So when he cuts the tubes, that is the same time that Horus also went back in time, or went there too, when he was on his ayahuasca trip with Erebus. So I don't know if you remember going with this. I mean, this is like one of our first episodes. Horus is there, and he goes on the trip, and he sees this happening. He sees the Primarch get shattered around, but he like sees something in the distance happening that caused it to explode, and he's trying to stop it from happening, but he can't. And then this is saying that he sees Argel Tal and his guys causing this to happen, and they heard him telling them to stop, but he couldn't stop him. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing here.
Yeah,
It's almost like Saw in a way. You're like, actually, he was in the room the whole time while this guy was doing this. Whoa. Yeah, that movie. Look, I'm gonna say that those movies are great. So, and Lorgar says, "Stop saying we. You are Argel Tal." And Argel says, "We are Argel Tal, yes. In 43 years, Horus will speak 4 words that will save humanity or lead to its extinction. We know what those words are, Lorgar. Do you?" Now, it doesn't say what those 4 words are. I am really cool. Oh no! I am the most epic. Oh no! You can't say that. The Emperor's gonna get mad.
Earth explodes.
It breaks apart to pieces. Like what? So, but in a single mention of those 4 words, Lorgar panics and he said, "Oh, let's talk about something else." So it's like, come on now, what do you say? 4 words that Lorgar's like, and let's move along. Next one.
I don't want to hear about it.
"I will kill Lorgar." Oh, wait, no, we won't. So yeah, whatever Horus says in 43 years, you don't know what it is. Actually, I think he does say in Horus Rising, or no, the one after comes. Doesn't he say like the emperor must die or something like that? I don't remember. I think it's like something like when he gets out of the vision, he's in like Gabriel says like, "Are you okay? What happened?" And then he says there's like 4 words, and it's like, "Oh, okay." Something. I don't know. Anyways, so Argel Tal says, "How much of this did you already know, sire? You lingered for 3 nights in Cadia caves with Ingathel." Basically saying, you knew he was going to do this, didn't you? The demon. He says, "Maybe." And he says, "Did you send us in the Iron Chair to find you something you already know was there?" And Lorgar says, No, I had no idea it would be like that." And then Argel says, "I believe you, father." But he's like, do I know? "That's right, I try to believe you. Wait a minute. That's the first time I've ever lied." So Lorgar's next order is that the Cadian tribes are to be killed with tectonic weapons to bear the evidence that they were ever there. Basically destroy the planet, like this chunk of the planet. Because Cadia, which is actually really interesting too, because what we know about Cadia in the future, the whole Cadia stands, it's like, that's the same Cadia. You're like, well, huh? Weird. But I guess, hundreds, if not tens of thousands of years later, I guess things can change, considering humanity itself has not been around for tens of thousands of years yet, like as societies. I think the first one was like 6,000 BC. So,
oh yeah,
it's only like 8,000 years. So really, who knows what could happen? Because I think the Emperor was born in like 8,000 BC, so he is very old. I think apparently Malcador was born before him. It's just like, okay, how far are we going back? But yes, so Argel Tal says, "I am possessed." And Lorgar says, "You were chosen, Argel Tal, just as I was." And yet he did not sound as certain as his words insisted. Doubt shadowed his tone. And Lorgar says, "You must learn to hide this from the Custodians. This whole possession thing you got going on, tamp it down for me." And he's like, that's right.
Me sitting here with giant claws.
Me seeing giant claws like a big demon face. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I mean, he looks normal-ish now. He doesn't have the whole demon claws thing yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So 38 men walk out of the Eye of Terror, and Argel Tal stands in front of them and gives them a new name. He says, "We are the Gal of Vorbak, armored in black and crimson, the elites of the Serrated Sun, and the chosen of Lorgar Aurelian." So these are the first red kind of, you see, this picture here, right? That red and the silver in that picture, but that red and black kind of word bearer look. I don't know.
I guess it's convenient that Syrene is blind. Yeah. There's no way she's like, it's the angels, like demon man.
You're one of the angels, giant demon. Yeah, totally. Angels have wings, right? So one of the custodians turns to Aquilon and asks whether the words are Colchizian. On the grounds that Aquilon is the one who studied the language. Aquilon tells him it means blessed sons. Basically, Gal Vorbak. It means blessed sons. And basically, so Aquilon knows Colchizian. He's like, they ain't trying to pull those slick moves on me. All right. Oh, speaking of language, they can't speak it. Yes, I can. And Cyrene at this point is called the Blessed Lady. She's kind of the mascot. Some years on, a little later, 40 Gal Vorbak drove into a royal palace on a world called Callus. Argel Tal is not with them. He's somewhere else on the planet fighting alongside Aquilon. And there's a remembrancer with them taking pictures. And this person is Ishak Kadeen. He is a regular human, but he just takes pictures. And he says, "I'm getting the best pictures ever here." He says, "They were twins in movement, a single weapon with a single intent. Neither led the other, neither moved any more or less than his twin. It was not a competition. It was a perfection of unity." He said, my brother's just another me. And it says, "Ruthless familiarity with each other was all that made this possible." So, like I said before, the relationships that Argel Tal has with Custodians is good relationships. I mean, he really likes Aquilon really likes him. So, I mean, they've been working for decades now. So they've matched. So, and it says the last to die had been disemboweled and decapitated by both warriors in the same heartbeat. Basically, they're moving as one. And after they kill all these people, all of a sudden Argel Tal goes down. "Ugh, I've been defeated." And something black and acidic runs out of his mouth. And Aquilon says, like, "Let's go. What ails you, brother?" And he says, "Nothing. Nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm fine." And Argel says, do you hear that?" And Aquilon says, I don't hear anything. What do you hear? And he says, "Let's move on." And Aquilon's like, "Yeah, okay."
Me spitting out black liquid. "I'm fine. Leave me alone."
I ate some weird sandwich earlier today. I ate some human. I don't think it's selling right. And I think really kind of leads to the thing too, is that like, since he turns to Aquilon is going to let some things go. Just the nature of the relationship. So later on, he goes back to his room, Argel Tal, and he starts like getting these cold sweats and tries to take his helmet off, and he can't. He's like, "My helmet won't come off." Weird. He keeps pulling and pulling. Every time he starts feeling he's pulling out so much, starts like pulling away his skin. And he's like, "Uh-oh, my helmet's stuck to my head." So it basically becomes like his new face is that he can. So he's stuck in his armor now, and so he goes to Cyrene, just to be like, "Hey, I got to tell you something. There's kind of a predicament here." And he kind of says, "Can you try to get my helmet off of me?" And she says, "Your helmet will not come off." And he's like, "This is very weird." But she doesn't know that he's like starting to get like a demonic visage, kind of going through his face. It's kind of like these pictures here, right? Kind of this thing going on, right? This whole like weird thing going on, these mutations.
Okay.
That's probably what it looks like under it, but you can't see anymore because it's stuck to his head. Because this is what it looked like originally. He has two swords. There's no color in this, but those two red swords he has. And where is kind of a more, this is kind of what he looks like, not yet, but this is kind of what he ends up like. So you can see that big monster face. I thought I had a different one somewhere. Is this one maybe? No, I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, he is kind of changing a little bit over time. He's getting all nasty and has a demon face going on, but not totally a demon face. It's just things happening here. He hears a thing in his head. It says, "We feed on her sorrow." The thought rose unbidden, and she kind of becomes a little bit afraid of him because of like this change that's happening to him. And her heartbeat picks up, and he can hear it. And she starts like crying for him because she feels bad. He's like stuck in this armor or whatever. And he starts thinking about all the different ways he could kill her. Like I could like just crush her, I could break her neck, I could do all that. So it's so easily. She's like like nothing to me. And it's like I could pull out her heart. It's a brutal thinking. But he says, but he would not harm her. He could not. He could, but he would not. Everything was a choice, and he would choose to suffer through this as the Primarch had intended for him, carrying the changes that others would never have to. So he's trying very hard to not let the Hulk out, the venom out, right? He's say, demon, stop, don't, no, demon, I'm not going to kill like that. And she says, Argel, and he says, yes, we are Argel Tal. We are farmers. And he smiles at her, which at least tries to, but as he does, the ceramite splits open and this like demonic mouth smiles. She can't see it, so she doesn't know. And she says, are you all right? And he says, nothing, only the change. Watch over me, Cyrene. Hide me from Aquilon. I can control this. I will not harm you. She says, your voice is different. He says, don't worry. I definitely won't hurt you or nothing like that. So I sound like that now. I took up smoking. So 3 minutes later, he walks into the sparring halls and he asks Aquilon whether he can borrow the Guardian Spear belonging to Sithran, who's another one of the Custodians. And Aquilon says, no. And I have a picture of the Guardian Spear here. I showed it before. They're gene-coded, especially made for each one of them. And he says, no, one, because it is considered the height of insult for one of us to let another touch the blades issued into our care by the Emperor himself. And 2, they're gene-coded. You just couldn't even use it if you wanted to. And he says, all right, fair enough. I didn't mean any disrespect. He says, fair enough. How would you have known? So they spar instead, and they are fighting in. He says, Argel Tal is going to lose. You can't beat a Custodian, right? He's Space Marine, he's not going to beat him. But 11 clashes and 5 seconds later, the bout was over. 5 seconds against Custodian. He still loses, mind you, but it went longer than usual. Like, oh, interesting. And Argel says, all right, one more. I get you this time. And Aquilon says, okay. And he picks him up off the floor, and he beats Aquilon. Sorry. Which is surprising. Well, he talks to the floor at least, which is like, whoa, you didn't do that before.
Okay.
And Argel says, you want to try one more time? And Aquilon's okay. And he goes to reach down to like pick his hand up, grab his hand. But he realizes his claws now. And he says, never mind. And the second bout is closer to normal. Aquilon wins, and he takes him down. And Aquilon says, there, the balance is restored. You are back where you belong, on the floor. Get down on the floor. And Argel Tal says, I almost had you. The Custodian answer says, not a chance. But you are different, brother. Energized, vital. And Argel Tal leaves. And both Aquilon and Sithran watch the Astartes leave. And the silence afterward, Aquilon said, something has changed. And Sithran, true to his vow of silence, merely nodded. It's funny, Aquilon's like, you notice he had claws? Weird. Sithran quiet. Shrug. Yeah, because Sithran took a vow of silence, which for him, not like a Sisters of Silence, but for him it was, I will not speak again until I return to Terra, after I do my job with these Emperor's children. Not Emperor's children, Word Bearers. So, we talked about this before, but we're going to talk about Istvaan 5 again. I mean, it's so fundamental. And Argel Tal is in the planning room, and so are Erebus and Corfron talking to each other on a private channel. So at this point, Erebus has already done the whole thing with Horus. And really that was probably happening at the same time. At least basically what the evidence gives us from the book is that when they're Terror cutting the thing, right? Yeah. So that's what happened at the same time. So Erebus and Corfron are talking to each other, and Sevatar, who was first kept in the Night Lords, tells Argel Tal, like, hey, man, shut up, man, you talk too much. And Argel Tal doesn't take that well. So Night Lord's punk trying to tell me what to do. Oh, and the demon's about to come out, and he says, all right, man, relax. It wasn't even like that. And the demon says, Raum, I am Raum. And Argel Tal says, are you the second soul that Lorgar started? Says, yes. And then he says, you twist my thoughts. I am forever on the edge of rage, or speaking blatant words to my brothers. And Raum says, I bring out only what is already present within you. You're already kind of a little twisted, a little crazy. I'm just letting you tap into it. And he says, I will not let you claim me, and you will not have me. And Raum says, I will not try. We are one. I have slept long enough to drip into every cell within your body. It is your flesh and it is my flesh. We are Argel Tal and we are Raum. I mean, it's venom. We are venom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get that venom. And the voice in his head, this Raum voice, sounds just like his voice somehow. And Raum says, I have no voice except for the roars we will shout when we shed blood. And he says, are you the reason my hands hurt all the time and I can't take my helmet off? And Raum says, yes, this is our new skin. And Argel Tal says, and has another question or another thing to say to him. Basically, what this is, I don't like this, right? Like, this is bad news. I don't think this is going to work out for us. And I feel like I keep hearing the laughing of these gods here, right? And Raum says, you will hear the gods many times in your life. The ordained time has not truly come. You heard the call to begin the long war, but the gods have not screamed yet. This is the prelude. You will know the scream when you truly hear it. This I promise. So Argel Tal kind of goes back to his to the present, stops daydreaming. And the last thing he hears is the Gal Vorbak will stand with the Iron Warriors forming the Anvil, concluded Lorgar. So yes, we are. Yep. So Istvaan 5 happens, right? We talked about this many times. And the loyalist second waves come down to Istvaan 5, believing is reinforcing a battle in progress, right? The 4 legions, Iron Hands, Salamanders, Raven Guard, Word Bearers, Alpha Legion, Night Lords, and Iron Warriors all fighting here.
Mm-hmm.
So they do the whole thing, right? They betray them. We talked about that before. And the Word Bearers sit down beside Raven Guard, because remember, Raven Guard don't know that Word Bearers are bad. Remember, that was a whole bit, because Istvaan 3 is the cleaning out of the bad people in the traitor legions, or the good people in the traitor legions.
Yeah.
Istvaan 5 was, okay, now we're going to kill the actual good people.
Yeah.
So, and then we're going to show them that actually there are more traitors than loyalists here.
Mm-hmm.
So the Word Bearers drop down next to Raven Guard. And Zafin says, we are to be the Anvil. The enemy will stagger back to us, exhausted, clutching empty bolters and broken blades, believing our presence to be a reprieve. And it says, individual warriors march with their bolters slung out of ammunition, oaths of moment reduced to burn, flapping parchment rags in the wind. So Zafin was like, how did I predict it? So they go there to be like, all right, guys, you got to get in there. And Argel Tal says 60 seconds. And by your word, court 3,000 warriors in ranks alongside him. While he counts, he has a new feeling. A faint breath of wind against his flesh, as if his war gear had grown dull nourished, capable of recognizing external sensation. So at this point, his armor is totally fused to him. He is his armor, and his armor is him. It's like a turtle shell type thing. Mm-hmm. And he can feel his hands swelling inside the gauntlets, and the targeting reticles he never activated are moving across his lens on their own, hunting, picking out targets, like the Terminator vision. And he kind of is like, Raum, are you there? And Raum doesn't say anything. 30 seconds. And then Argel Tal answers the order in syllables that don't mean anything, because he's kind of just he's also getting turning into a demon here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to speak, but there's a venom bubbling over his mouth. He's like, ugh. It's like, what did you say? Sorry, I ate a bunch of peanut butter. In 20 seconds, and Torgal, he had been weeping blood without feeling sorrow or emotion at all for an hour. This blood is weeping from his mask. And his own teeth have grown, Argel Tal's own teeth have grown enough to cut his tongue open, and his blood running down his arms, running down his face, and his arms are cementing his fingers. They have to have an axe. He couldn't open his hand. He couldn't release the weapon no matter how he tried. I'm sorry, that's Torgal. Torgal has these sharp teeth, and his axe is stuck in his hands. It becomes this living weapon. Hmm. And Torgal closed his eyes to blink them clear, but they would never open again. Basically, he is locked in. And then Malnor also turns into this demon. So that's what happens in this minute of them waiting for the Raven Guard to show up. So all of a sudden, the gunship comes down, and the Primarch of the Raven Guard gets out of it. Corax here has his wings, his whole thing we talked about before. And he comes to the Gal Vorbak, right? Obviously, they fire and they kill the Raven Guard, blah, blah, blah. Skipped over that. Just to be clear, yes, they killed those Raven Guard that were coming towards them.
Yeah.
Corax shows up, he says, hey, stop killing my guys. And he comes to Gal Vorbak, and Raum says, no, our end is fated. We will be destroyed in the shadow of great wings. So Raum tells Argel Tal that phrase that you're going to hear a lot as we go on here, is that you will not die here. You're going to be dying in the shadow of great wings. Which, to be fair, Corax has great wings. So what are you talking about, buddy?
Yeah.
And then it says, the shadow of great wings eclipsed the sun. And Raum says, we die in the shadow of great wings. And Argel Tal says, I know. Oh, no. Corax is going to kill me. Wait. No. What, really? You just told me that. She says, okay, well, fine. I'll die fighting Corax. So Argel Tal leapt forward to meet his end at the hands of a demigod, where he survives. You don't really know how it happens. He just somehow gets away. Mm-hmm. And Corax fights his way off the world with Fractured Legion, right? We just covered that in our last 3 episodes. Oh, what happens to him after that? And Argel Tal walks away. And actually, another thing here that I don't have in my notes I want to cover is that on that planet, Corax runs into Lorgar, and they're fighting, and he almost killed Lorgar twice. He stabs him once, through the stomach, and pulls the claws up and starts taking all of his guts out, and drops into his knees. And he's like, I'm going to kill you here now. And he goes, cut off his head. And then Kurz comes up and says, Blink, no, you're not. I'm going to stop you from killing him. Corax is like, whatever, you're an idiot. And then, yeah. And then they fight, and then Lorgar gets away and heals back up. So I was like, wow, Lorgar almost died like 3 times.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, he's getting a little too lucky.
Yeah, like the Warhound Titan turning him into like ash, Corax almost killing him. He gets he's not a very good fighter, honestly. He's probably the weakest fighter of all of them, even probably worse than like Alvarius. Alvarius is a pretty good fighter. He was something that he's so sneaky. It was like, no, he can move. He's still a Primarch, but yeah, compared to guys like Corax or the Lion, like the Lion, that's a killer.
Yeah.
Angron. Even Gillum is a good fighter. I mean, we haven't got to it yet here, but I mean, we talked about before, he's fighting basically Lorgar and Angron, like 2v1 kind of. So, back to Ishak Kadim, who is the guy taking all the pictures. He has been with them for years now, and he's taking some pictures on the monastic deck. And he photographs the Astropath chamber. And the Astropath Acquire, we've talked about it before, they're basically how you send messages through the galaxy. They take the message and they send it psychically kind of through the warp. And they can do it, and it's usually, it can be very dangerous. You never know what can send a message back. Sometimes it doesn't work, but usually every ship has one because it's the best way of communicating if you're very far away. Then after he takes these pictures, he hands the pictures to a custodian, and the custodian asks, what do you do? You see walk around and taking these pictures, like, what do you do? And Aquilon is looking at the pictures, going through, he's like, uh-oh. He says, my brothers, we were betrayed. Because he's like seeing like this picture of the Astropath with all these like demon hands and like meat and like weird things that somehow the custodians didn't see before, but obviously there's like only, I think, 15 of them. So it's like, there's a lot of things to miss.
Yeah.
It's just funny that like, what do you take pictures of? Let me see. And he's like, oh, maybe we need to go like do something about this. So 4 custodians on the ship of 100,000 word bearers have proof now of heresy. They said, if we send this back to the Emperor, it's over for them. But the problem is they have no way to send them home because it's the Astropathic Choir is the one infected. It's like, so we need to get out of here and somehow escape. So Aquilon says, there's one soul on the ship that's listened to word bearers wish for the secrets for half a century. Cyrene, the Blessed Lady. So he basically goes to her and says, we need to take care of that. So Lorgar made her confess his act of penance, right? He knelt in front of her as a blind teenager and asked her to forgive her for everything, and made her job to be this confessor. Now she is older, right? She's 58 or 60, I don't know at this point. And 4 custodians go to her door and give her a little knock. And says, hey, I want to talk. Come on, I just want to talk. Colleen, another of the 4, is saying, basically, how are we going to get to her? Like, there's a lot of people on our way. And Neuralis, who's a blade master of the custodians, there's a lot of different positions. The blade master uses a sword sometimes, and that's kind of what the sword looks like. It also has guns on it. There's a gun on it, and you squeeze it, and I don't know. Other stuff is like gun blade things, but whatever. Sure. I mean,
who did that? Final Fantasy?
Yeah. Leon Swall. Yeah. Final Fantasy 8, I think. I think straight one kind of works because, like, okay, I see like the mechanism coming here, and then you just pull the trigger. But this one's like, I guess, I don't know, it's a little wonky, but
yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, Blade Master says, we will kill everyone that stands in our way. Like, do you not know who we are? And they cut through, I mean, just easily. 4 custodians, no problem. And Cyrene hears power weapons cutting into her door, and she cannot see them, and she cannot get out. But she does not call for help. She goes to her keypad. Starts typing in this keypad. She types as fast as she could. Her fingertips dancing on the familiar keypad, but her efforts ended mid-sentence. The door comes down, and she says, Aquilon, I knew you would. He says, be silent, traitorous whore. It's like, whoa, all right. Okay. Aquilon, she doesn't do that. It's kind of just a crazy thing to call somebody as like a whore. Like, what?
Like, oh, all right.
I'm sure prostitutes exist in 40K, but it's just like, he's mad. I guess he's mad. I don't know.
Yeah.
So she's dead. I mean, obviously, they kill her. And at one point, they try to escape, and their ship gets shot down, the custodian ship. And Argel Tal catches them at this down shuttle with 3 custodians left. A lot of them died trying to escape. Aquilon, Neuralis, and Cithran, who Cithran remembers the mute, and they put their bags together like, all right, we're gonna have to fight. Like, here's what it is. So the description says the custodians were the Aquila more often than the Primarchs themselves. Solid silver eagles on their chests, clutching lightning bolts, right? The Emperor's own symbol worn by the Emperor's own guard. And Argel Tal says to Aquilon, you killed Cyrene. And Aquilon says, he says, I executed a traitor who had borne witness to a legion's sins. Which, that's what I said. I don't think we covered in that episode that, yeah, she killed him. Because we talked about, like, she died, whatever. I think she dies again in Betrayal, but anyways.
Yeah.
So Aquilon says, in the name of the Emperor, what are you? You seem more nightmare than man. And Argel Tal says, we were never human. We were never human. We were taken from our families to fight the forever war in the name of a thousand lies. And Aquilon says, my friend, my brother, you have been deceived. And it doesn't work. Obviously, the Vorbak don't care. They're bad demon mode, bad. And Aquilon says, for the Emperor. And the Vorbak answer the laughter of demons. And you don't actually see what happens here necessarily. You get pieces of it, but you don't actually. Basically says, in years to come, Argel Tal recalled precious little of the battle because he's so demoned out here that he can't even recall from his normal mind. So Naralis, the Blade Master, he takes Malnor's head off, and Malnor keeps fighting without it until Naralis has to like cut him into pieces. So he's so demoned out that he cuts his head off. He's like, I still fight. He's like, what is wrong with you? So he cuts him up. But he gets taken out. Basically, he gets jumped by some other demons. And then Sithran, who had held the vow of silence the whole time, throws a Guardian Sphere through Zafin's chest, basically punches through it like he's a whole crater. And he says, as they take him down as well, and he says, I always hated you, Zafin, before they cut his head off. And then for Aquilon, the only thing he remembers is a juicy, meaty crunch as the Custodian's head ripped free of his neck. Aquilon's basically, he took his head off like a predator. Argel Tal did. And yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. No, he didn't. Stupid. They should all been dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how many unburdened were there or Gal Vorbak. And it like, all right, I'll give it credit. So there were like 5 of them. 2 died in the ship crash. So the other 3 were pretty weakened from the ship crash. And there were like these, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 like demon infused space marines. So sure. But whatever. Whatever, man. I don't. Like literally, Vendatha kills 3 of you guys in 3 seconds. Whatever, man. Whatever. Not my guys.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, how did the Warbears get away with any of the Istvaan stuff if they have custodians like on their ships watching over them? Because like,
well, that's what it really is. Just like there's just too many of them to keep track of.
Yeah.
Like there's only 20 custodians. Well, he's 19 because Vendatha, which is funny because they're like, so where's Vendatha? I guess I've seen him in a while. I haven't seen him either, anyways. Because also the thing that really gets the custodians is that they don't fight in groups. Like obviously they do at the end here, but they're used to and they're trained to fight solo. Always like they don't use team up tactics. It's like D&D, right? They fight. They use their own moves and skills. There's no like. I'm trying to think of another game that has like a team up thing you can do like that. I guess D&D kind of has that too, like with certain spells. But like you know what I mean? Like it is. So if they knew like how to like work together, maybe it would have been different, you know. But they also don't need to. You know what I mean? Like when is it ever an issue? Obviously, it was there, but yeah. So that answer your question. I can't remember what you asked. Hold on.
I was gonna say, how do they get away with the Istvaan stuff?
Yes. Yeah. So yes,
there's just so little of them.
100,000 word bearers for 20. It's just like there's no like okay, they're going to be over there today, so let's just talk about it over here. You know?
Yeah.
And obviously they find like this. They kill him on Istvaan 5 right after Istvaan 5 happens. So it's very quickly after they find out. It doesn't take long.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes. So later on, it says it was the weapon of one he had called brother, taken from Aquilon's body in the light of the unforgettable sunrise. So he has that sword, the sentinel blade of Aquilon, with him. And he had Argel Tal likes to collect weapons. This is what he does. That's why he gets those red blades as well. He collected them from something. And also he has an alien blade somewhere too, which he doesn't tell anybody about. Don't worry about that. Chaplain says to say, it's unhealthy. You shouldn't collect weapons. And he is like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to tell you anymore. So also he's holding a data slate. And the cursor blinked halfway down the screen, waiting for words that would never be entered. And he's reading what Cyrene was typing into her keypad on the door. And they found it 3 days later. And it doesn't say what she was writing. I hate when they do this. Dude, this is so crazy and so wild. Oh. Okay, what was it? Don't worry about it. So you're going to this sometimes. You do like everything. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Her last message. What was the message? I don't know.
I don't know. Only Argel Tal knows. It's like, oh, me. So it says each time he's hoping that he'd see the intent, the meaning, it never made it onto the page. So I don't know. Maybe she's writing like a code and he's trying to read. He's like, what do we write? Like, I don't really, what is this? The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. What does this mean? Huh? No. Huh. Anyways, so Zafin, Malnor, and Syrene are all dead, and Vendatha has been dead for years, right? And Argel Tal basically says, my brothers are dead. And Raum says, no, I'm your brother. I thought you were me. What do you mean I'm your brother and me? My brother's just another me. So that's kind of where this first part ends. Not like part wise. Like the episode keeps going. Don't worry, audience. I know how you feel about multiple parts. But that's kind of where that's the kind of the first book, first Heretic there. And then we're going to kind of jump way ahead here, not way ahead, but a year later during the Shadow Crusade, which we've talked about. So this is during Betrayer, right? We've talked about Betrayer a little more recently. This is when they meet up with world eaters to do the Shadow Crusade. Word bearers, world eaters get together. And Argel Tal has made a friend in this time called Khârn. Not Khârn the Betrayer, not yet. He's not called that yet, which is funny because the book is called Betrayer, but that's not where he gets the name from. It's something that happened way later. But anyways, so Paul is kind of alone. The Serrated Sun doesn't exist anymore. Everybody he's friends with is dead. Aquilon, his friend, is dead. Cyrene, his favorite person, is dead. He's demon possessed. He feels terrible. He probably would kill himself if he could. I think he actually tries to at one point. He just can't. Like it's just a demon stops him or something. It's like a Hulk thing, right? So he's asked Lorgar, can I make a new chapter? I want to make a new thing, a new chapter with a new idea. And it's called the Chapter of the Consecrated Iron, which, kind of cool. Or the Vakrajal. They have silver faceplates, jade, alchemical, cling fire, and curved colchizian blades. So they're very, what's that? Like, not Persian, but I guess kind of Persian. Like the curved blades, the jade things, silver faceplates, kind of like an immortal look. Okay. That it's cool though. I like culture in my 40K. I don't know if I have a picture of it. No, but no, not really. But yeah, so they all have this look, so they know what they're part of. And he now has wings as well. He's kind of growing wings in between times. So at this point, there's no hiding anymore. Obviously, isn't hiding from everybody. All the custodians are dead, and all the people that would, part of that are dead. I mean, there's still other unburdened. It's just everybody that's Serrated Sun is gone, dead. So he takes a bunch of these survivors and starts over. So he meets Khârn, a world eater. And we know about Khârn, right? Just talked about him. He's 8th captain of the world eaters, which you know how Khârn feels with the number 8. Now, obviously, we haven't got to that yet, but yes, 8th captain. And Khârn says, Argel Tal, the 7th captain. And it says, decades, we fought together in 3 compliances. Basically, they're like, no, we know each other, remember? And they do. They're very close, actually. Here's a picture of Khârn. It's very hard to find a picture of Khârn before he gets all crazy. This is like pre-Nasty World Eaters. He's at the nails. I think this is from the Horus Heresy, Legions game or something like that. That's why the art is so nice. But he has a fancy plasma pistol. I forgot what it's called. He has the chain axe with the chain and butcher's nails. The blue, because World Eaters used to be blue and white. Before they became the whole red thing. Yeah. So he's cool. And Khârn was also at Istvaan 5 as well. Actually, no, I don't think he was. I think it was Istvaan 3. Or he was at something where he dies. And it takes a lot of work to bring him back to life. He gets run over by, I think, a rhino and pins him in a wall and cuts him in half, basically. And oh yeah, Khârn died. And then they brought the heroes actually, I brought him back. And yeah, so I don't think he can make it to Istvaan 5. He's too busy recovering. I think I know at some part he's really messed up and almost dies. Okay. So they're fighting in the fighting pits, as they do. They team up. And the sword that Argel Tal using is this golden sword. It's Aquilon sword, right? And how does he use it? If it's bioencoded, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Shut up. Don't worry about it. Stop asking questions. And they're fighting. And Argel Tal says, you are slow tonight, Khârn. What steals your attention? And it says, Argel Tal's voice portrayed a curious duality, his twin souls speaking through one mouth. And there's ichor forming stalactites along his upper teeth as he says it. And Khârn says, not slow. Difficult to fight 2 of you. You're cheating. Stop going to Venom mode, dude. And Khârn breaks the lock by letting Argel Tal overbalance, and the axe comes around and hits the golden sword again. And Argel Tal says, but not fast enough. And then the butcher's nails lock in. And Khârn gets that juice, that butcher's nails juice. And he are fighting. So it's kind of this interesting thing here, right? The butcher's nails in Khârn, which make him enhanced, and the Raum in Argel Tal, which make him enhanced. But now one of them was a choice nail, meaning the other one not really. But at the same time, they both were kind of a choice. Khârn did the butcher's nails to prove to Ango that, no, I can be just as cool as you are. Ango didn't care though. And Argel Tal did the whole Raum thing because he wanted to show Lorgar, to prove him right, I guess. But also at the same time, I think if he knew what it was, he probably would have been yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So it's an interesting duality there. So Khârn says, the war to come. Does it not feel like noble to you, dishonorable? Because World Eaters love to they just smash people. They don't think about, there's no planning. They just hit people and smash people. And even Angron argues with Horus all the time. He's like Istvaan 3, Istvaan 5. He's like, why blow them up for space? Let's get down on their ground, just smash them into pieces. And Horus says, oh my God, are you stupid? That would not work. We're all gonna die. He's like, well, whatever. That's what I'm gonna do. And he says, okay, then do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't handle this guy.
Well, it's him. It's that, and the other one was the other thing. It's like, no, guys, I totally won that. It's like, no, you definitely would have died.
Right? Like,
no,
yeah. We fight Lehman Rush. Like, no, I totally won though. He was on the. I knocked him down. It's like the space was to blow you away. He's like, yeah, but they didn't. He's told him not to. Yeah, so I won. It's like, oh, it actually this happens during this time because Lorgar talking to Angron about that.
Oh yeah,
dealing with Lehman Rush. So Argel Tal says, honor. I do not care about honor, cousin. I care about truth, and I care about victory. So this is back when they call each other cousins, because it's like they are, right? We talked about before. Because later on it goes like brother. It's like you're not really brothers though, but whatever.
yeah.
And they go to speak, and then Lotara Saren, we talked about before, she's the captain of their fleet, tells them that Corforon's armada has begun an assault on Calth. That's the one that he said, what about if I burn down Calth? What then, huh? Gilliman? And Gilliman says, you would never. Wait a minute. He did. Oh, this guy. And Argel Tal says, it's time, cousin. And Khârn says, now the Shadow Crusade begins while Calth burns. And then intro to the thing. So Corforon takes his armada to Calth system under the banner of the Allied Legion, invited by Gilliman. He says, remember that we talked about this episode a while ago. Yeah, we're going to go fight some orcs. Yeah. And Lorgar and his commanders appear to Gilliman by Hololith, connecting from a different ship. And Gilliman looks along the line of them. And he says he'd forgotten the imposing bulk of Argel Tal. So you're getting bigger. What are they feeding you? These giant wings and claws. Well, I don't know. He's got new armor, I guess. But actually, Argel Tal is standing in kind of like a lithocast. Basically, it's making him look normal. So I'm sure if Gilliman saw him, he'd be like, you look weird. What's going on there, buddy?
You look a little strange.
No, you look strange. So Gilliman mentions in passing there's a machine code problem in Calth Datasphere. And the mechanic are working on it. And Argel Tal says, a problem, Lord? That could have been summarized in a data burst, sir. Basically, it's scrap code. We talked about before, word bearers unleash scrap code to mess up their machines first, to kind of soften up the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And he's keeping Argel Tal is keeping Gilliman talking about it, kind of keep him distracted. Don't investigate it. Don't. Hey, keep talking to me. And they're also like chaos cults on Calth. There we go. That was a tricky one. And one of them is called Creel Faust, and he's attending his ministries and listening to him preach. And that was in Corforon opens fire, the star itself is poisoned, Ultramar starts burning, right? We talked about all that, right? The whole thing with Calth, and almost kills Gilliman. He's launched into space, and he comes back and like, how'd you survive? He's like, I have Primarch biology. I go, oh, okay. So we jump ahead here, and we go to Armatura, right? We talked about Armatura before. A lot of this stuff we're covering already, but it just helps. This Argel Tal, so we're covering what he did.
Yeah.
All right, audience, listen to me. I'm gonna yell. I'm not gonna yell though because I don't want to yell. But Argel Tal takes a Vakra Jal down into their first major war, and Khârn says to him, "Do you fear death?" And Argel Tal says, "We're the Legion. I'm telling you, that word gets me every time. Legiones Astartes. We know no fear." He said the thing, ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Gem alert. We know no fear. That's the other book, though. What the heck? That's the Blood Angels book. And Angron walks up, and he looks at Argel Tal and says, "Creature." And it says he enjoyed the way the insult tasted. Creature, ew, you're ugly. I hate you. So why's Angron do this? It's just like his thing. You let him do what he's doing. And he literally calls her creature 3 times to his face, trying to get him to do something. He's like, "Creature, hey, look at me. Hey, you're ugly. It's like, what? Why does he do this? It's like, he had a rough childhood.
I'm like, this your guy for real?
That's your dad? Yeah, look, it's a whole thing. And Argel Tal betrayed no response, merely waiting impassively, his silver faceplate staring with his crystal blue eye lenses. So I guess this picture where he's talking to Cyrene has that helmet, which is weird because technically he didn't get that helmet until later, but whatever. Yeah. Artistic interpretations and such. This is kind of like them working together, right? This is the picture of him and Khârn fighting. You see he's all demoned out crazy style. But his faceplate isn't silver though, so it's a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Normal Khârn. Wait, does he have... All right, good. I was like, you gotta have his arm out. That arm has to be exposed. Because apparently it's the whole thing with Khârn is that he leaves one arm open, so you go to attack it, and then that's when he catches you.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, also just makes it look cooler. So Khârn spends the whole exchange basically like letting Argel like ignore him. Don't. He just does this. He's testing you. So once anyone seals himself into the drop pod, Argel Tal says he has no Primarch. He doesn't say he thinks it. Well, he thinks it to Khârn somehow. And the Psychic Whisper makes the nails in Khârn's skull bite even way more. And it every time he does that, it like bites down because like Psychers and Butcher's nails do not work together. That's why there are no Psychers in the World Eaters, because it just doesn't. It's something about the way the brain gets affected by the nails causes them to bite deeper when you use psychic energy. But if you use psychic energy to like stop it, it's bad. It's bad news. And they usually end up getting killed, or they just like kill themselves, or they like explode. It's bad news. So they don't have many Psychers.
Yeah.
And it also makes them feel, they get a weird feeling when people do it to them too.
Mm-hmm.
So on Armatura is Ultramarines against, Word Eaters and Word Bearers. And he says, you never really get used to killing your own kind. And he tells Khârn, stay alive. And he launches skywards with his wings for flying away. And Khârn's like, what? Oh, okay. I can't do that. I want to fly. Well, then kill more Raven Guard. You can take their wings. So at the end, Orfeo Cassandar surrenders and says, why'd you even come here? What's the point? And Khârn says to kill it. And Argel Tal says to make it suffer. To make the cries of Archer and ritual is all part of the force laying across your kingdom of Ultramar. And the Ultramarine is like, that's madness. What are you like? You're out of your mind. And Argel Tal says, yeah, that would be if you were ignorant fool. And it's like, what's going on with you, man? You don't usually talk like this. He is, it's kind of this evolution he's having now, right? Because remember, 40 years before this, he was like, this warp stuff is whack, I don't like it. But now he's like, actually, it's actually really cool and awesome. And I think we should keep doing it. So he kind of, after the battle ends, he kind of returns back to non-venom form. And he says, I will remember these screams until my dying day. And it's just, it's the PTSD's kicking in, So a little bit later, aboard the Fidelitas Lex, which is one of the Word Bearer ships, Argel Tal went alone when he visits her tomb. And Cyrene they built her a tomb, this fancy little like thing after she died. Martyred by the Emperor's own guardians for the sin of seeing the truth. There's basically this inscription on her thing. But the coffin is empty. Cultists broke in and stole her bones because a cult has grown up around her and holds that she was the first human being killed by the Emperor's servants for praying to the right gods. So now her remains are now relics somewhere on a fleet of ships. So it's getting real. Things are getting weird, cult-wise.
And are they Word Bearers that are the cults, or?
No, they're human cultists.
Okay.
There's like human, like people on the ships. Remember, because some of these ships are so massive. I mean, you have thousands and thousands of people living here. They're like flying cities. So a lot of them are human, just workers.
Okay.
So, or refugees, no refugees. Well, some of them might be, but whatever. Zaphon has a statue as well, and it has a boot on a fallen Raven Guard, head bowed as though in regret. And it amuses Argel Tal every time he passes it because Zaphon was never regretful about anything. So I don't know why he would never feel that way. And he enjoyed Istvaan. And Zaphon's plaque says he walked in the realm where gods and mortals meet. And he drew the sword that ended her life. The sword he carries now is his own. Basically, he takes the sword and he looks at it, and he has two weapons now. Both of these were his finest and favorite trophies. Both were forged and turned the Emperor's own inner sanctum, and both were gene locked to their owners, so nobody else could ever use them. And he broke the locks and never told anyone how. Because of whatever.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm allowed to do this. I'm epic. So he's a guardian field called Shahini Tarazu. There we go. And it was a weapon that killed Zaphon the Word Bearers 1 year ago. And the other one is Sithran's Spear. The second is Aquilon's two-handed sword, and it has a name too. Iktanatar. There we go. Iktanatar. Can the Custodians have normal names for once? Can anybody have normal names ever in 40K?
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm trying to think of one normal name. I don't know. John Grammatic is probably the closest one. That's probably
John Warhammer.
Yeah. That's the only one I can
think. I mean, Dorn is kind of a normal-ish name.
Yeah.
It's like a normal medieval name. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's like normal-ish names.
Jagatai-Khan's pretty normal.
I mean, it's normal for what he like supposed to represent. Yeah. Like
yeah.
But like some of these names, you're like, all right, can you just, it's like you ran your hand across the keyboard and was like, that's what it's called. Sorry.
Yep, this is the one.
It's like, how do I even pronounce that? Where do I start? And no pronunciation guide? Cool. That's helpful. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, no. I love butchering words for no reason. So its crosspiece was an eagle of gold, the Emperor's Palatine Aquila spreading its wings. It was the Emperor that murdered Cyrene, confessor of the word, an unarmored woman who had lost the use of her eyes. And he draws over a grave, and every time he wants to break it over her knee, he's like, this evil weapon, I should destroy it. But he resisted, for the pain of bearing this blade was a lesson in of itself. And he was there when she died. Basically, he had come back, and she's like bleeding out, and she is smiling, and she says, "What have they done to you?" Basically, before she died, like that's what's sticking with him. It's like she's not worried about herself. She's worried about like this guy's become a demon, and she's like you're more messed up than me. I just got killed as a regular blind human. They're like a weird demon or something. Yeah. So a little time later, Erebus comes to see him. Which is never good news. And they have not been close since Argel Tal refused to become chaplain 2 centuries ago. He's still mad about it.
A century-long beef.
200-year-long beef. This guy's just like, I mean, I just think it would be better as chaplain. Brother, that was 200 years ago. I don't care. And he actually says, how far you've come since the day I took you from your family. Not in a good way. Well, I mean, in a good way, but also it's double-edged, right? And Argel Tal is carrying a skin-bound tome chained to his waist, and Erebus recognizes it and says, that's the Book of Lorgar. I've read it. I've transcribed many of its pages myself. And he's like, he's corrected. And he says, there are 2 books, the one Erebus wrote into and the one Lorgar is writing himself. Argel Tal says, not yours, not Corforon's, not the mere dictations of gods. He calls it the Testamentum Veri, I guess.
Yeah.
And Erebus lays out what he's been doing for the last century, because Erebus says, we haven't talked about him at all since the beginning. And he says, from the beginning, we've guided Lorgar, Mortarion, Fulgrim, Horus, and the others, a coven of articulate, intelligent souls within the legions at the Primarch sides, guiding their movements and decisions. Basically, it says, the whole thing with Horus to be cut by the poison blade, that was me. It was me the whole time. And Cygnus Prime, me. I did it. Not Horus. He's a fool. I'm the smart one here. Which people are like, I hate Erebus sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but you gotta love Erebus. Like, who is a bigger hater than Erebus? Not even a hater, just like, who's getting it done like him?
Yeah.
Nobody. No, they ever couldn't even get done like Erebus. Erebus corrupted his number 1 guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, Erebus, hate to say it, but he kind of good at his job.
He's kind of effective.
Yeah. And 40K, that counts for something. So, Erebus says, Khârn dies at sunrise in a world of gray skies. In every future I've seen, he dies as dawn lightens the heavens. And he dies with a blade in his back. And Argel Tal says, who holds the blade? And Erebus says, someone that hates him. All I sense is a murderer's emotion, not his face. And he says, you should step back from Khârn. Like, maybe you shouldn't be around when this happens. And Argel Tal refuses. He says, he's the last flesh and blood brother we trust. Zaphon lies dead. You are a viper. Aquilon fell to murder. Only Khârn still stands. And Erebus calls Argel Tal son a lot, because it's like a weird patriarchal thing, even as a kid. So he calls him, he's like, listen, my son. And he says, we are no longer your son. And Erebus says, no, forgive me. An old habit come to the fore. My fault. Oops.
My bad. No, please.
No, please. I'm trying to do something, and you're like not falling for it. And all of a sudden, Argel Tal figures out something here. That Erebus, and Erebus kind of throws us out like kind of a little bit. He's like, yeah, so last week I actually was resurrected a guy. Yeah, I just needed his bones, and I brought him back to life. Yeah, no, he's fine. Anyways, I'm going to head out. If you need me, just let me know. And then Argel Tal says, bring her back. He says, the movie? Or, no, you know what I meant. And Erebus kind of looks down with a little smile. He says, for you, my son, I will. And, we know where this goes. So Erebus keeps his word, which is surprising. And Argel Tal and Khârn both stand for the ritual. And it's brutal. They get all of her bones back together. And which is actually kind of surprising. You think the bones are scattered everywhere. I don't know how I don't know if Erebus tells you to do something for the cult. He's like, oh, well, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the smallest bone in the human body. It's like someone's hunting that down.
It's like her nose bone or something. Like, oh, it's a cartilage. She comes back, her nose is gone. It's like, oh, do we not have her nose? Oh, like her like pinky toe bone.
Guys, I can't find the last piece.
I don't know where I put it. I'm sure they can do some weird sacred magic to do some weird sniff out the bones or something. They could figure it out. But anyways, so Erebus works with his Crozius, and he does this whole ritual, commanding a corpse to reclaim its place in the world of flesh and blood and bone and steel. And Khârn watches as a skeleton hand lifts off the slab, a claw of bone with fresh meat growing over it. And the chamber goes completely black. It's like something out of Hellraiser. You ever seen the first Hellraiser?
No.
Oh, man, it's fine. I mean, it's kind of a cult classic. But there's a part when the guy revives, because I think he's dead. I think his skeleton is under the floorboards. And someone in the house cuts their hand and blood drips down the floorboards and gets on the skeleton. And he basically reforms from this blood. And what they do for the effects is, I think they had like the skeleton made of like wax or whatever, and they melted it. And then they filmed, and then they did it reverse. So when he's melting, it looks like he's like reforming over time. It's a very cool scene. That's kind of how I imagine this, is like she's like reforming, like the muscles going back together and like knitting in place and all these different things.
Yeah.
And this darkness is so powerful, even thermal and echolocation, they can't see through it. It's magical darkness. You need Devil's Eye for that one. And Khârn's chain sword is knocked out of his hands by something he hopes is Argel Tal. What was that? Was that you? I don't know. Where are you? And then all of a sudden he hears a young woman screaming that goes real nasty. And it's like a wet, like weird, nasty, bloody scream. And the light comes back on. There's a woman crouched in the corner in nothing but her burial shroud, hair darkened with blood, and she's looking at them. And Argel Tal says, "You're not blind." But he says, like, "Not you're alive," or "Oh, you're all right." Basically, nothing like that. He's just so shocked that she's alive and that she's not blind. And Syrene is just like shivering and staring and just not talking, because I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant coming back. Where am I? What happened? What was that? I was a skeleton. I can feel being a skeleton.
Also, you think like, she's seeing this like demon for the first time. Like, oh,
which like demons and cultists and like this blood ritual. I didn't even say it, but like, yeah, like the room itself is like covered in blood. There's like a bunch of dead people because they had like killed like 5 other guys. It's like this nasty scene, and she's been blind, remember, since Monarchia.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even know about anything warp related or anything demon related. Because like, she's a giant demon, nasty Khârn with his like craziness, Erebus being who he is. And then she's like, what's going on here? And he's just like, "Hello."
Oh, hey, you're back. Huh?
Back where? Am I still in hell? So yeah, because they actually told her, they like, "We can give you like eyes if you want. We can give you like new eyes." Because I'm sure people are like, "Why didn't she just get like robot eyes?" Because she didn't want to. She's like, "It's like part of my thing, Like, if I have eyes, I can see you better without eyes, type of thing,
It's my brand.
Yeah, like I could just, it's like a cool, like I wear the blindfold, like justice is blind type thing. So she's never seen Argel Tal, Khârn, Lorgar, anybody. The only ones she ever saw were Ultramarines. So these are not Ultramarines though. And the problem is, when you're a ship full of this many people, word gets out, Syrene's alive. Oh, yay. So a bunch of cultists start rushing this hall to get to her and try to touch her and try to be, "Oh, the Virgin Mary's alive," try to touch her, whatever, or tear a piece off her like clothes and like this whole thing. And it gets so crazy that Argel Tal starts picking her up and like carrying her above everybody. And like he's wading through the water with a backpack. And it says he'd allowed the change to come and shielded her with his great wings. Those red-black pinions he'd forming over the course of the year since Istvaan. They horrified Syrene. That much was obvious. And basically, it's like, "I'm Argel Tal. Remember me?" And she's like, "You were a demon the whole time?" "Not the whole time, but anyways, go on my big demon wings." Huh? And then then Khârn speaks, and she says, "Who are you?" She's known Khârn because he's debated faith and philosophy with her and the nature of the soul with her and Argel Tal. Because Khârn doesn't know about any demons or anything like that, right? Argel Tal's like, "No, demons are real." He's like, I don't know about all that. All I know is like killing people. And one time he let her touch his face to kind of feel what he looks like, like it's a blind people thing, right? And she ran his fingers over the scar at the back of his skull where the nails went in and like all this different stuff. And like basically what they do to his brain. And he's like, "It's me. It's Khârn. Tell her I'm Khârn. She knows me." And she stares at him and she's like, "You're Khârn?" And he's like, "Yeah. What do you mean?"
What do you mean by that?
What did you think I was like ugly, or what do you mean? Hey, wait, what does she mean by that? And the crowd starts getting too rambunctious. They're starting like pushing and trying to knock over Argel Tal to get to her and all this stuff. And Khârn is like, "All right." And he gives him the nails and starts killing his worshippers with his bare hands. Now, because like, well, at first he has a sword, he's custom, but then it gets so gory and nasty. The sword slips out of his hands and he loses it. So these are just regular human, mind you. So he doesn't need the sword. So he starts swinging his hands around, smashing people. And Argel Tal has Aquilon's sword in one arm and Syrene in the other, and he's doing his wings to like slap people around. It's his bloodbath, right? 2 warriors turn with unspoken understanding, hurting the terrified woman between them, sitting back to back against the horde. And then green fire comes to the corridor behind the mob. The backward jaw have arrived. Khârn says, "I see jade fire." And Argel Tal says, "Now stay alive until they reach us." So, I mean, this is probably thousands of people are trying to get to this woman. I mean, it's not too bad. But yeah, so eventually they kill. It's a massacre. It's bad. It's
Yeah.
But these guys are getting crazy. They're getting rambunctious, That's what you got to do. So 27 days pass between the word bearers and world eaters having leaving Armentura in ashes, and they're at Nuceria, which is Angron's homeworld. And in that time, he is hanging around with Syrene, kind of catching her up on things. But Cyrene, and this is what the book says, Cyrene Valention, she who lived twice, dreamed of swimming through fire, chased by howling demons clawing at her ankles. Her own screams woke her each night, sitting bolt upright in her quarters, sheen with cold sweat. So that's the weird thing about this, is that we talked about before, when you die, you go into the warp. No matter what, your soul goes into the warp. Usually, if it's small enough, you kind of drift along the warp. Demons might eat you, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For her, her soul was small, but the thing is, she was brought back so she can remember these demons trying to like tear her apart and eat her when she was a spirit. So it's like she has like weird second death PTSD here.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can remember hell. You know what I mean? So that's not good for her. And the problem is now she has guards outside the door because people keep trying to get into her room to like see her and like, oh, the blessed lady. And so like people go, hey, keep moving, buddy. So it's not the same as it was. It went back when it was just like, oh, blessed lady's here, but it was just like there was no cult. It was just, oh yeah, she's cool, you know. I sometimes go to her and tell her something. Now it's just like this weird, like insane. It really shows the devolution of what the word bears have become.
Yeah.
They're always kind of there, but like at this point, it's almost like Cadia, right? You're seeing a similar thing here. I mean, that's basically what Erebus, it was a Cadian ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Not Cadian, but like a similar type of ritual. And it says, other nights she woke to see Argel Tal sat hunched with his back to the door, the sword that killed her in his hands. Hey, I think you should throw that out. Oh, I didn't even.
My bad.
I didn't. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Well,
But it's like really cool.
but like I broke the gene coding on it. You know how hard that was? I'm not gonna tell you, but it was hard.
What if I just put it in the other room? It's fine.
Don't worry about it. Hey, can you be blind again? His cold blue eye lenses burning through the gloom as he watched her, just staring at her. He said, stand there? Yes. Is it weird? Sorry, I'll turn around. He sits outside her door all night, guarding her, holding the weapon that murdered her, basically. But they talk until morning. He tells her, he's telling the stories. The year of warp travel after Istvaan. She says, I don't remember anything. I was dead. And he says, for her sake, he believed her because it's like she does remember. So I don't know, I was dead and now I'm alive again. Oh, weird. It's like, no, she remembers like being eaten by demons. It was not pretty. So 27 days passes, right? We talk about that, about a month, about almost 4 weeks. And Lorgar has not really talked to Argel Tal much recently. It says Argel Tal himself spent much of his time training with the backward jaw or being ignored on his daily attempts to speak with his Primarch, which is weird, right? Because remember, him and Lorgar had a great relationship. So he goes to his father's door every day and is turned away every day. And with the Conqueror Repair, which is the World Eater ship, there are fewer excuses to cross over and see Khârn. And Argel Tal had told Khârn, he says, everybody's told me that you're going to die, the whole thing dying in the gray ashes of this gray world. And Khârn, here's a thought. He considered killing Erebus and simply being done with the thought of it. What if I kill him? Then he can't have any more predictions on it. It's like, well, I guess, but.
That's a way to approach it, yeah.
I mean, you know what, though? Khârn, you're cooking with that one.
The result, hey, not bad.
Well, actually, at this point, too little too late, It's like, you should have done this like 40 years ago. So in Kargos, another one of the world leaders says, it's nonsense. And Skane is like, it's kind of funny, man. I don't know. Gray world, gray sand. I don't know. Don't worry about it. He says, okay, fine. So now we're finally here on this area. Angon's homeworld. Word bearers and world eaters. I'm telling you, it's tricky. They're here to burn it down. And Argel Tal spends the battle doing what he's been doing, which is keeping Khârn alive while also fighting. He's like, hey, you're not going to die here because Nuceria is a gray world with a gray sand. He's like, oh, he's going to die on Nuceria. So he's like, no, I'll make sure you don't die. So, but the sky over Nuceria is red, not gray, and the sun is not rising, and Khârn is alive, and nobody stabbed him in the back. And Erebus was wrong. And eventually they split up, Khârn and Argel Tal, and he says, I guess Erebus was wrong. All right. And Argel says, I guess so. And Erebus lands with Argel Tal, and then he says, you're wrong, Erebus. He says, perhaps. The ritual dagger slid into Argel Tal's spine, gentle as a lover's touch. It's actually you. Tricked it. Ooh, gotcha. And Raum goes first. Basically tries to call Raum, like, Raum, help me. I'm being stabbed. But the problem is the knife that Erebus is using is like a ritual Colchizian knife, which basically suppresses warp stuff. So he stabs it into him, and he basically deletes, but severs a connection from Raum. So this is real, quote unquote, human Argel Tal here. So this knife, into his spine, it could kill him. It is gone. It's like for the first time in probably 40 something years is gone. And the team also told him that like you would know the scream of these chaos gods when you heard it, but he can't hear anything right now. And the abs actually hurts more than the knife because you're so used to having these claws, these wings, this whole thing that it's like, oh, you go back to normal. You're like, whoa, I feel very light. And Argel Tal goes down, starts crawling because he's like his spine is severed. It's just kind of interesting. I get it, right? So it's about what it means. But it's like a dagger and it's fine. Wouldn't you just be like take it out and just like heal? But I don't know, maybe it's like magical warp infused dagger.
Mm.
You know Erebus probably.
Yeah.
And Erebus says, it was always you. In every one of the 10,000 paths, your erratic, emotional foolishness led us to lose the war. And he says, I am Destiny's hand, Argel Tal. And basically, he said, yeah, he's kind of being like, you're bad news in the future. Can't have you mucking up my plans here, buddy.
Mm.
And the 10,000 futures, right? We talked about before that 10,000 paths thing. That doesn't necessarily mean literally 10,000 paths. It could mean like a more classical way of like the infinite paths, right? On all the versions of the future I see, you ruin this for us somehow. It's the Doctor Strange one, you're the one thing that can't exist in the future.
Right.
So I need to stop you from existing. So it's also because Erebus needs Khârn to become what Khârn becomes. Khârn needs to become that true crazy killer that he becomes later on. And Argel Tal basically stops Khârn from doing that. He's like, no, brother, don't go crazy. He says, you're so right, Khârn. You're so right, Argel Tal. Thank you. You kept me in line. So, but basically the thing was, Erebus lied to him to trick him into spending all that time protecting Khârn, letting his guard down for Erebus to go, I got you. Trick you, fool. He was never in danger. It was you. So on this day, he's weak enough that Erebus can sneak up on him. But the truth is he didn't just say he had murderer's intent, somebody that you don't like. And he says, Erebus says, you had one last chance to turn away from this fate. If you could just overcome the death of that worthless whore priestess. Stop calling her a whore. She wasn't even sexual at all. He says, but no, you begged to bring her back. And in doing so, you proved that you were worthless as she was. Which is like, man, Erebus, you're just you're so rotten.
Just a hater.
Yeah, just a number one op. But man, I love to hate you, hate to love you. You know what I'm saying? So basically, yeah, you get killed for being too nice. 40Ks is that dark, grim, dark world, dude. Just that twisted. It's just so crazy. The Joker wouldn't even know about this one. And Argel Tal says, I die in the shadow of Great Wings. Not here. Not here. There's no Great Wings here. Corax. I know there's wings of Corax. And Erebus steps aside. He says, oh yeah, steps aside. And what he sees in the sky is there's a fortress tower with an Imperial Aquila mounted on it with its wings open. The same eagle that was on Guilliman's chest at Monarchia. The same eagle that Custodians wore at the crash site. The same eagle that is on the sword that he was using, which he's carried every day for a year when that guy murdered Syrene, or Aquilon murdered Syrene. And Erebus says, so you do. Goodbye, my son. So yes, and that's how it ends, right? A warrior in great armor came to Mud Hut on River to Colchis and asked a woman for his son. She asked his name first. He gave it, and she gave him the boy. 200 years later, the same man takes that name back. He says, now I got you 200 years later. I'm collecting. So yes, and that's Argel Tal's story. He's not come back.
Yeah.
He's dead. And I guess also Syrene, you assume, is also dead because in orbit, the ship she's on blows up. But we know she's not because Daemon Prytanis takes her. He says, you're a perpetual like me.
Oh, yeah.
And then the ship blows up and then you're like, oh no, she dies. It's actually, no, they escaped. But anyways. So Syrene, we could do an episode on her eventually, but she still has a lot going on still. Yes. Anyways, thoughts?
It was interesting. I liked how that kind of wrapped up. It's like, oh, the same person that kind of recruited Tal is the same one that killed him. And I kind of like how the prophecy came out. I was like, oh, the wings. Like, no, there's no wings here. It's like, steps from the side. It's like, oh,
those are there. Those
no.
Oh, wait, no. It is funny that, yeah, like Raum just is gone. Like,
yeah.
Just with the slow dagger, just turned it off. It's like, oh, Raum, no. Yeah, it's a very depressing scene in the book. I didn't really get into it too much here, but like in the book, it's just like, oh, man. And it's like, you really hate Erebus, but it's like, but man, is he good at his job?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's doing it like him, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of the whenever he enters the scene, it's like, oh no.
And Erebus arrives. It's like, oh. So who's going to get poisoned, stabbed, tricked, deceived?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, not quite, but was it Spider-Man? Not the new one, but the one that came out before, when he gets all the villains back together and tries to like rehab them. And Green Goblin, he starts getting like really bad spider sense. He's like, something's weird. And all of a sudden Green Goblin's like, I tricked you. I'm actually evil still. It's like that, where it's just like Erebus like, I'm always evil. Don't ever trust me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was good though. I like kind of, because I feel like over the course of like doing all the episodes, like, okay, you kind of lose some of the details over time, but then just hearing it all in one sitting.
That's what I'm saying. This kind of, and that's what I'm saying. We covered a lot of this. I mean, almost all of this. And that's why I kind of want to do this like, kind of a side video here. But I think it's a good, like, if somebody just wants to know Argel Tal, here it is. You know?
Yeah.
Also, in a little bit more beyond this. So eventually, I think we talked about in Betrayal episode, but Khârn gets back to the ship. Angron turns the demons, the whole thing there. And he goes to Lorgar and says, where's Argel Tal? And he says he died. And Khârn is very mad. And Lorgar says, do you want to know who killed him?
Oh, yeah.
And then it cuts to the fighting pits, and Erebus is there. He's like, who am I fighting? And then Khârn shows up. He's like, you're fighting me. And he beats him down so bad. It's a brutal scene. It's like everybody's favorite scene because he beats him down. So he almost kills him. Like he basically has his chain axe against his spine, about to turn it on. And Erebus is like, in all my futures, I don't die here. This doesn't make sense. And Khârn's like, well, that's too bad. And right when he goes to activate the chainsaw, Erebus teleports away. It's like, oh, come on. So it is, it's like, I think it's like the last 20 minutes of Betrayer is that scene. So, but yeah. So there's some justice in the world, in the universe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if that's all, if you guys like this one, let me know. It's a different type of episode. If you want us to do more character episodes like this, let me know. I mean, I probably still will anyway, just because I think it's good to kind of have these complete stories. Like I'll probably end up doing one with Garviel when we kind of wrap up his story. Probably one about, who else is there? Khârn. I mean, probably with Khârn is he's still active in 40k. I guess kind of a spoiler, but so that was kind of tricky.
We could do Ferrus Manus. I don't know how much story there is for.
Oh yeah, we could do Ferrus Manus because his story is over. I mean, it technically isn't over. There's still a little bit left for him, oddly enough. So yeah, that one's a little trickier, but we could do that. But I don't know. Yeah, little character stories. I guess if you guys in the audience want to, you can think of a character that we've kind of talked about being dead or the story is complete and you want us to cover that, let me know in the comments. But until then, until next time, bye. And also, I know I said, sorry, yeah, addendum, cut back in here. I know I said this next episode is going to be Magnus, but we're going to do probably just a Magnus big episode, super Magnus episode. So, yeah. Anyways, I know
1,000 hour Magnus episode.
1,000 suns, 1,000 hour Magnus. So, yeah, hopefully that works well. People like that. But yeah. Anyways, sorry. It was a flip decision. But until next time, bye. She is Cyrene right to the knee. Being like, this is not okay. This is not what we do. And 100 Ultramarines are left standing. They don't kneel. So it's even worse. It's like, what are we? They're not kneeling.
Come on, man.
That's not fair. So they feel such shame from this because they're forced to do their right to the Emperor in front of the Ultramarines. It's like, yeah, it should be about 58 during like most of what I'm going to talk about here. They always think we're doing like a young person because actually this picture here is when they pick her up. You can see captain, but he's not the first captain. He's the 7th captain. There's five custodians each chapter. And Lorgar says, I've granted his request that one of the custodians group travel with the serrated sun. And the custodian that goes with the serrated sun, which is Argel Tal's group, is called Aquilon. And this is a picture of Aquilon, custodian. I mean, they all kind of look the same. I think at this point, Ingethel has appeared as a demon. He's now like a full demon that like, he's even looking at him can kill you, Argel Tal. Which, what does that mean? He has 2 hearts.
Which one?
Yeah, both. Like, are we cutting in half, or is it 37? They beat at the same time. I guess it's, I don't know. Within like they say 6 seconds. None as bad stuff ever happens. And Zaven says, "This is not what my Primarch wanted." I was like, "Oh yeah,
oh okay."
And Ingethel says, "This is exactly what Lorgar wanted. This is the truth." And then he kills Argel Tal. And the last thing Argel Tal feels is something cold pouring in behind his eyes like oil. And all of a sudden, he sees Zaven standing back up. 58 seconds later. And aboard the ship, 7 months had passed. So we're talking about that time dilation. For them, they have been in the eye for 7 months. For Lorgar, it was 1 minute. And he's like, oh, you're back already. He doesn't have the whole demon claws thing yet, but yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's like demon man.
You're one of the angels, giant demon. Yeah, totally. Angels have wings, right? Your helmet will not come off. And he's like, this is very weird. Or her face. I thought I had a different one somewhere, except when he can hear it. And she starts like crying for him because she feels bad. He's like stuck in this armor or whatever. Argel Tal says, are you the second soul that Lorgar started? Says, yes. And then he says, you twist my thoughts. I am forever on the edge of rage or speaking blade words to my brothers. And Raum says, I bring out only what is already present within you. You're already kind of a little twisted, a little crazy. I'm just letting you tap into it. And he says, I will not let you claim me. And we are Raum. I mean, it's Venom. We are Venom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get that Venom. Pat on the door. It never made it onto the page. We know each other, remember? And they do. They're very close, actually. He's a picture of Khârn. It takes a lot of work to bring him back to life. He gets like run over by, I think, a rhino and like pins him in a wall and like cuts him in half, basically. And like, oh yeah, Khârn died. And then they brought the heroes like, actually, I brought him back. And yeah, so I don't think he can make it to 1-5. He's too busy like recovering. I think I know at some part he gets really messed up and almost dies.
Okay.
Creature, ew, you're ugly. I hate you. He's staring with his crystal blue eye lenses. So I guess this picture where he's talking to Cyrene has that helmet, which is weird because technically he didn't get that helmet until later, but whatever.
Yeah.
Artistic interpretations and such. Basically, like letting Argel like being too nice. 40Ks is that dark, grim dark world, dude.
Just that twisted.
It's just so crazy. The Joker wouldn't even know about this one that he was using, which is carried every day for a year when that guy murdered Cyrene or Aquilon murdered Cyrene.
Mm.
Erebus says, "So you do. Goodbye, my son."